this is about delivering great exclusive games for you that ship on platforms where Game Pass exists.
Hello and welcome out to this week's episode of the Gamers Council. I'm your host, WEBDAVE. It's just me. What's up? It's WEBDAVE. Yay. All right, then. Anyway, welcome, everybody. We appreciate you being here. We're going to let some more people pile in. We are, of course, on X. We are on YouTube. We were also on the Game Pass Dailies channel on X as well for tonight. And so there you go. And we have a great panel. Oh my gosh, some legends in the industry, some amazing people here, and they're all actually legends to me because I love these guys. They're all awesome. We're gonna start off in the corner with his first time appearance ever on the show. We have two of those. Is Captain Logun. Captain Logun. Logan, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing? Thanks for letting me come on.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. You guys were nice enough to have me on your show, and it was awesome. We had such a great time, such a great rapport. I'm like, you guys got to be on my show. So, and thank you graciously for coming on. We really appreciate that. And then, of course, your cohort on that particular show is Lohr. Buddy, what's going on?
Oh man, I'm happy to be here. You guys have become a staple in my Sunday evening, so it's really nice to be hanging out with you. I loved having you on XEP. It's just good to be here talking games. It's been a nice calm after the storms of all the showcases. So I've been playing games a lot lately, and it's been great.
Very cool. Very cool. Awesome. And thank you so much for being here as well. And then, of course, our staple, the wonderful man who is who is everywhere and has a great book too, which I have my copy right there. See right there above my name? There it is. My autograph copy, which you can get your own, and Hargeet will tell you how. And it's also actually in the description below too. But Hargeet, Chani, welcome, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I was at King's little birthday celebration thing yesterday. It was just a couple of us celebrating his birthday down in New York. And then just came back and I was in ILP.
Yes, you
right
were.
before this.
I know.
Here
I appreciate you. And you even gave us a shout out that you were going to be on tonight, so we appreciate that as well. And I did watch or did see some of those clips and pictures you posted or that were posted from King's little birthday bash, and it was great seeing all you guys together and hanging out and breaking bread and all that kind of stuff. But it looks like you guys were eating pretty good. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, place was pretty cool. Tao, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Very cool. Very cool. So King David from the Iron Lords was his birthday, I guess in the last couple of days, and we do appreciate the King. I'll have to admit, this is the second time I've actually won on his and his thing is he gives out the coins if you're actually like a member of his channel, and then it's a random drawing thing that they do. But this is the second one that I won. I actually got and I just got it in the mail yesterday, so I got the PayPal one, the Power World one.
Oh, you got the Power World one? I think I have the Power World as well. I think I have that as well.
And then
there's a bunch of them. These are pretty cool, right?
Oh yeah. And the first one I got from him was the Hold the Line, which I love.
Nice.
You know,
let them know you guys are in my DM. King, what will we do? We will hold the line.
Yeah. Shout out to King David and the Iron Lords. Exactly. Love it. Okay, cool. We got about 86 people here watching. I see it. I love it. It's a great game too. It is a lot of fun. Let's see here. So we got about we're up to 97 people here. We got people from X, and we got people on YouTube. Thank you so much for being here. If you're in the chat and everything, we appreciate you being here so much. I do have an announcement that I need to make, and I'm going to go ahead and just do it now. Pull the Band-Aid off, as it were. When we started this particular Gamers Council show, I set out to find somebody that would be complement the show very well, and somebody who really does his due diligence on research and topics and stuff, and felt blessed. The first person I asked was Retri, and he accepted, and we've been doing this show for almost a year now, a little over a year now. He has decided that he needs to step away from the show. So, which is, absolutely 1000% family first. Agree with his decision. So, no one got fired. This was his choice and his decision. And he messaged me just the other day saying that he wouldn't be on tonight's show or going forward. He may possibly be a guest in the future, which he's always welcome here, 1000%. So just to throw that out there. But yeah, so Retri, doing 2 shows and all the success in the world to his new show. I think it's doing great on Saturdays, and so we wish him all the best. But he is actually, like I said, it's a little much, and is basically when the wife says she wants to spend more time with you, you spend more time with her, and that's the bottom line. So there we go. Hey, welcome out, Plume. Tony from Plume Gaming Network is in the chat as well. Awesome. FarQ's here. Why So Serious? Bunty. My goodness, a lot of great people in the chat tonight joining us. Adele, Abdel, and then RSJ fans. So guys, thank you all so much for being here. We greatly appreciate it. Like I said, the show will go on no matter what. So with that said, we're gonna kind of go around the horn. I'll start off with Captain. Logan. You're in the first position, so you are up first. What games are you playing, and maybe what is there any? Well, I don't know, TV shows or movies or anything like that that you've been interested in or watching recently?
So I dove into First Descent recently.
Descendant.
And
First Descendant? Is that what you said?
Or First Descendant, yes. I don't know why I was thinking Descent.
I didn't know. I do the same thing. Same thing.
So, but been playing that, and that's been, it's interesting because it's like it's giving me the straight up Destiny and Anthem vibes, and it's actually really fun. I've been having a really good time with that. Been diving into that and just surprised it's free to play, which I think is a good way to kind of go about for that kind of game. But it being on Game Pass is like a no brainer. So I've been really having a good time. The amount that they throw at you really does make me feel like what most people probably feel like when they jump into Destiny 2, thinking like, oh, this expansion will be the expansion that finally gets me in. And it's like, I wish I had a Sherpa to kind of like take me around, because I'm just kind of like going from mission to mission at this point. Just getting better gear, throwing on different mods, waiting to get like a different Descendant, and just kind of going from there. But God, good looking game, feels solid. I've been really surprised by this. And like Nexon, I was like kind of questionable. But yeah, started digging through the battle pass and the store, just to kind of see what's going on there, just to see like how many more hours am I going to dump into it, kind of thing. And if I want to give them a chance with some money, just to like have some time beyond just what's actually been doing. Outside of that, Star Wars Acolyte has been kind of like the main show that I'm keeping up with. I think I just started The Boys' newest season last night.
Nice. You're in for it, brother. It's good.
Yeah,
wild.
It's already like I'm already just like, this is so wild. I love this show. It's so nuts. So yeah, starting to get back into The Boys. I was out yesterday, pretty much like all day at the lake, celebrating my birthday. So I'm like coming back like completely eaten and sunburnt. So I'm just this morning was literally me just vegging on the couch, playing video games, just trying to get back into like normal game mode and stuff. So that's kind of what I've been up to, but having a good time with it.
Nice. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Of course, Luke, buddy. Yeah. So, Luke, what have you been playing? What have you been watching? What's
I
up, man?
I have several things I want to plug.
Yeah.
First of all, the first one, as far as watching goes, anyone that's got Netflix, I want to plug the movie Ultraman Rising. I am digging this. It's an animated movie. Yeah, I'm digging it. It's an animated movie. If you like kaiju, you probably know about Ultraman as it is. But the animation is just incredible. And I say like Spider-Verse is probably top tier, S tier. Ultraman Rising is A+ tier. And it's really, really good. It's a happy movie. It's a kid's movie. So if you got kids or you enjoy like watching Pixar or whatnot, this is in that vein. Ultraman Rising was an absolute blast on Netflix. And so I wanted people to check that out because I think it's just underrepresented by way of its kind of niche audience, but it's very much a good time. And I've been in a kaiju kick for a few months now. So I play a lot of Giga Bash and yeah, poor Logan. I watched, all the MonsterVerse stuff and which one? Would you like Godzilla Earth? He's just hanging out. Yeah, I got quite a few of them. But yeah, I've been Ultraman Rising, great movie that I hope people will check out for sure. And I've been playing a lot of Gamepass stuff, mainly Lords of the Fallen of late. I just beat the Ruiner boss a few minutes ago. I was almost late because oh my gosh, the lamp stealer guy was like right there, and I was like, oh, can I beat this boss in time? And I was like, no, don't risk it. Don't risk missing the show. But I've really been enjoying Lords of the Fallen because it's got that Game Pass benefit. If I get frustrated, I go find something else and play something else. And then I'll come back to it, play through it. I played a lot of it on cloud from my phone while I'm watching TV, which has been kind of cool. But yeah, don't miss Lords of the Fallen. I think it's a really good game, and it's a nice, I think, first or second step into Souls-like games. If you are timid on that, particularly with people talking about Airtree. I'm not a Souls-like person, but I can handle Lords of the Fallen, and I'm really enjoying it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Hargeet, what have you been playing, watching, and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, so before it left Game Pass at the end of the month, I finished Sword and Fairy, which is one of the nice Japanese games. So it was pretty cool. And then the next week or so the first 2 weeks, what's leaving is Figment 2. And so I went and finished Figment 1 and Figment 2. So that's what I've been playing. And then, of course, this weekend I was kind of like, well, yesterday was basically all Iron Lords. And since the morning, it's been Iron Lords again. So it's basically been it. In the middle, it's my nephew's second birthday as well. So we've been kind of doing that as well. So
Nice. That's very, very cool. Very cool. I'll tell you, I been playing some Power World, been playing some Final Fantasy 14 online with my kids. Yes, they're growing up, but they're still kids to me.
It's got to be fun though to like jump in with your kiddos and play. That's got to feel
Oh yeah.
Relish every moment that they still want to be around you.
Yeah. Well, they want to be in the will. No, I'm just kidding. We
have wills in our generation.
I'm just teasing. But hey, Matt from Fun Speculation. What's up, buddy? What's up? But I'll also say that I watched Fall Guy. And
nice.
That was actually really good. I was I thought, whatever, just be action, but it was actually really well done, very funny, very well shot. Lots of good action. Ryan Gosling was actually really, really, really good in this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's good. He's a good actor. Don't get me wrong. But he was definitely in his element. You could tell they had a lot of fun making this movie. And then at the very end of the movie, when the credits go up and you get some cameos that are kind of nice too as well. So yeah, stick around for that. If you get a chance to watch it, definitely recommend it. It'll be a good 2 hours you'll enjoy. And there's some more people that are piling in now. We got over almost 200 people here. Thank you so much for being here. Hey Galveston, what's going on, buddy? So anyway, I just want to I'll reiterate one more time, and I may mention this again throughout the show, but just let y'all know that Retri is stepping away from the Gamers Council. He is now no longer going to be my co-host. he has decided that which we respect 100%. Family first, needs to spend more time with his wife and family. She said being 2 weekend shows is not great when he's got to do 2 shows on the weekend and not as much time with her. So and absolutely 1000% it is family first. That's with me too. So
balance is important. It's important.
It is.
Sometimes we go too far, one pendulum or the other. It happens. It happens.
What are you trying to say,
so
Luke? What are you trying to say? What about our relationship do we need to talk about?
No, balance is important. Got to do both, right? Got to do both. I think we've all gone that route, though, right? Like we've all gone too far into one thing versus another, and especially in the world of games where FOMO exists and content creators want to get that response out to the latest news story, we forget to take a breath sometimes.
Yeah. And
I know what a shower is.
And Mav, and I gotta put up some of his comments. It's so funny.
Tell him to get a divorce. Nice.
Yeah, exactly. Where is that first one at? Yeah.
I love Mav.
Yeah, exactly.
Mav does like 418 shows a day, and it's funny when his wife tweets out, "Come watch this one." I'm like, "This is fun. I like this little partnership." That's cool.
That's my future goal right there. Find that.
Dynasty
create.
Yep. Exactly. But with Mav, I mean, like I said, he has a great relationship with Caitlin, and it shows on their podcast as well too. When she jumps in and participates stuff with him, so that's also great to see. Adele, I support Matt's suggestion. No,
and
you don't want to do that.
I was just gonna say, this was also 4th of July. So for those in the U.S.,
yes, yeah. Oh, look at that. All right,
4th of July.
He's got the 11. Good, always good with the animations.
Happy 4th, everyone.
Exactly. That's right. Happy Independence Day.
Way more
patriotic
than I was.
We're just a couple away from 250 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Is it?
Yeah.
And I'm old enough to remember the bicentennial. What's that?
26. Yeah. So 2026, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
That's wicked.
What's up, Paris?
A good way to get things started. Paris Lily in the chat. Thank you so much, Paris, for being here. And
Poor Paris. I DM that guy so often. He probably just looks at it and goes, "There he is again." It's funny.
Paris is absolutely amazing member of the community. We love Paris being here, and of course we all do. We know you all do. It's he's amazing, and his channel's really coming along now too. That he's doing. So give a chance, check out his videos. And Hargeet is also doing his own videos now too. So check those out as well. Check
that out.
All those the links in the description or in the description below of the links to the. Well, there's not a social media for Hargeet, but you can actually, we've got his Discord link and information in there, so you can actually message him on Discord. That's how I get hold of him. And then but for Logan and Luke, they're also on information is there on their channel and their podcast and stuff. So if you want to reach out to them, go ahead and definitely do it. But Retri did need to take a step back. More people are mentioning that, but we're gonna jump into some topics. Much love to Retri, by the way. So he was definitely a crucial element to getting the show off the ground and getting it going, and we'll always have much respect for him for that. And he's welcome back anytime he wants to jump on and talk that shit. All righty. So with that said,
play it day one with Game Pass.
Gotta love that. Gotta love that. So actually, it's funny that Paris is here because it's one of the things I'm gonna we're gonna jump to first was a little post from our friend that he put out that Paris put out. Let's see here. Let's bring this up. Share and add to the stream. Kaboom! There we go. There it is. All righty. Get rid of those. But yeah, so Paris posted the next 2 weeks of Game Pass is looking good, and it's coming to Game Pass. You got Got Flintlocks coming. Got Dungeons of was it Hinterberg?
Dungeons of Hinterberg,
Yeah.
Neon
Netsugami.
White. Is that
Neon
yeah.
White's gonna be
Yeah,
huge.
we had this.
Yeah.
We had a similar topic on XEP this week, Dave,
Mhm.
and we use the same wording. Game Pass is unstoppable because when you look at July's release for Game Pass, it's absurd the amount of quality and diversity you get. And then when you look at what they got in June and April, and you look back, Game Pass has been delivering nonstop
Mhm.
this year, and it is just such a treat to be an Xbox gamer right now as a result of it.
Right?
I'm sorry,
I'm looking
Paris.
forward to Flintlock. Like this
Yeah,
is
You
one
should.
that they've been tweeting out like every week. Their social media has had something new every single week to kind of get people like still up to date on what's going on with them.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that this is coming day one Game Pass, I'm so sad that I'm going to be at an SOT convention the day that it comes out because I really want to jump into this like the day of.
Oh
It's-
yeah.
It's fun. And like Kunitsugami, fun. Flock looks really
Mhm.
cool. And the benefit of Game Pass is that the buy-in is so much lower than it would be if you were spending full price on a game. And that means you can try and if you're not in the right mood, wait, go try Hinterberg instead of Flintlock or Flock or Kunitsugami. It's just such a treat to be able to dabble and graze. I think as you guys know, Asante, he and I do something similar. We touch a lot, we play a lot of games, right? Touch on a lot of different stuff. And then when it clicks, we just go in and dive in. And that's just the benefit of this service. It's so absurdly good right now.
And don't sleep on Frostpunk 2 either. That is going to be a really good game. They killed it with that first one.
Yeah, exactly. It's there's so much good stuff coming. It's crazy. I'm been thank you to Luke for sending me another link. I'm gonna jump to.
Oh yeah, so that's just a list. Pure Xbox does a good job of keeping a running list of all the stuff that's released in Game Pass this year, and it's just been very helpful to me when I want scope or perspective on just how much is there. And I know Hargeet was talking about like playing something before it exits, right? Like the amount of just high quality games across a number of different genres is just so cool. And what I think is neat about it is sometimes there are games like Callisto Protocol came in last month. I really liked that game. Some people did, some people didn't. I already own the game, but when I see it drop into Game Pass, to me, that's still like, that's a great month for Game Pass because more people are going to get to try something I like. And I think that's something that is a vibe that is sometimes lost on those who maybe already have the game or have already played the game that is dropping in there. But there's a lot of content that cycles through. Journey to the Savage Planet is a game that's been in Game Pass before, cycled out. I played it last time it was in Game Pass, really had a good time with it, didn't finish it. Now that it's cycling back in there, more people can get their hands on, find this kind of smaller indie AA title that's just funny and quirky and has a lot of personality. And in a time where I think we're watching studios close left and right, like my heart broke when Abu shared that Surgent Studios was having layoffs because I really love Tales of Kenzera. When you see games get spotlighted and cycled through services like this, it just gives hope that, games or franchises might live on. And like part of me wishes Kenzera had dropped into Game Pass. Another part of me just wishes people had been willing to check it out. I think it just launched too close to Prince of Persia, if I'm being honest. I think too many people saw too much similarity. But I really think Game Pass does a great service for both gamers and developers alike.
Well, so that specific one did launch in PS Plus, did it not?
It did go into PS Plus. That's the unique aspect of this. It went into PS Plus. Abu was on everyone's show. He was on XEP. He was on ILP. He was on a number of shows, big and small. It feels to me like Surgent Studios did everything right and still had to close. And that really bums me out. It also makes me upset at EA.
Did they
Originals.
close or did they just downsize?
They did layoffs. They downsized. They did layoffs.
Okay.
But it was
all right.
Not a good feeling. And it really makes me upset. Like, what's the point of EA Originals if you're going to have to lay people off and slim down like that? That does worry me. Like, what are we actually getting there?
This is kind of par for the course for EA, though. Like, we see this from them quite a bit. In fact, I think Star Wars, Fallen Order or like the Fallen series is the only one that's really not suffered as a result of layoffs, because they're one of the few franchises outside of the EA big titles that can actually like pull in attention and actually hold on to it. So you run into this problem where it's like EA just has no reason to keep these studios pushing onto new games once their game is done. It's like why invest the resources when they can pick up another studio or pick up another game and add that as their EA original.
Well, so the EA original is not like a studio owned by them, right? So it really comes down to the partnership there. It's likely they paid to develop the game, and that's really it. So as long as they were developing the game, they were paid. But after that, it's kind of, if there's profits, they get something. Couple of things. First, it will be coming to Game Pass, right? Because it's an EA game, so it will come to Game Pass at some point.
Yep.
So that might give it a little bit of a bump. I don't know what they're working on next, right? So if they had something in the pipeline ready to go, had a publisher ready to go, it might have been okay. They might have been able to keep those people, but ultimately this is kind of how it goes with smaller studios. They have to go through a design cycle and say, okay, how do I get to the funding cycle? This is why like people like Obsidian and Ninja Theory were like, okay, we'll partner with Microsoft and be bought by them under certain requirements that we get to do these things, right? Because then the funding part of it goes away, right? Double Fine, right? It's like I don't have to deal with this part of the whole business anymore. I just go make my game. That some people get that luxury, some people don't, and unfortunately, this is the first thing they're doing. I think there was also unfortunately a little bit of controversy with somebody bringing up the SBI thing, right? I don't know why that has anything to do with this game. Right, but like almost immediately, the second there's a non-white protagonist, it has to be something wrong with SBI. It's like, dude, the game was situated in Africa. Like the whole point of it was an African protagonist in Africa. So like
Abuka Park, he put out
really be a problem.
He put out a response to that. Like that was a non-issue, right? Like
it should have been a non-issue, right? But I think unfortunately, it does. It gives a little bit of a hesitance for some people, and it's like, well, why should it? It shouldn't. It just shouldn't matter. Just enjoy the game, right? But like that's the problem, right? So little stupid things can actually cause some ripples that may have taken 10% of the buyers out of the equation, right? Something like that. Even though it's a small percentage, it's a big deal for a company like that, right? For a small studio like that, that could have been a couple of people that stayed on. Right. And unfortunately, this is just the way it is. Right. These are business decisions. It is what it is. It sucks. But hopefully, they get a whole bunch more, games under their belt and they can keep some reserves and be able to continue to keep doing this. Or maybe they get acquired. Right. And that's another potential. Right. So, let's go ahead. Sorry.
We talked on XEP this past weekend about what success looks like for different size studios, different games. Hypercharged on Box getting a lot of spotlight and praise because they're celebrating hitting 100,000 units, whereas just to some studios that's massive failure, to others it's extreme success. And
it's just depends on your budgets, right?
Right, budgets, business models, etc. I loved getting to see Joe Henson. He was on XEP, great interview, fun guy. But hearing the Hypercharge guys get to celebrate themselves and be like, yo, 100,000, this is big. I love when studios get those wins, and it hurts that much more when you see studios take those losses, and it really is a bummer. But it speaks to the different scopes of budgets and what it means.
Do we even know what the sales numbers were for Tales of Kinzero?
No. But like, what would you be happy with, right? Like, if I heard 100,000 on Tales of Kinzero, I'd be thrilled. But does an EA original, is it supposed to do 1 million? I don't know. Like, I don't have a stake in there, but like, I have to ask that question.
Well, how many people were working on it? Was it like 20?
Around 20. I went around 20.
Yeah.
Give or take. Offhand, what that compares to say like the Dead Space remake and how that.
I think that was more AAA budgeted, right? So
it's very
let's assume somewhere like 50 to 100 in that range, 50 to 100 million. That'd be my guess for the Dead Space remake. Like, well, let's cut it back a little bit because they didn't have to redo the story, right? But they do have to redo the assets. So you do have to pay for most of that, right? And then all the animation work, all that stuff, right? And then the sounds, stage, all that. So it's going to be enough in that range, right? So whereas Hypercharge, it was 6 people. If I
Six
remember
people,
right.
six people, real small project,
Probably
very
part
niche.
time, right?
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
probably spent like $1 million or $2 million in
Yeah.
total. Like, so for them, 100,000, by the way, is on the 3rd platform, right? That's on Xbox, because they released that on
Correct.
PC, then Switch, then Xbox, and this is where
They did not
reached
hit those
100,000 plateau.
milestones on
Yeah,
Switch.
so this is where they reached that 100,000 plateau, which is awesome, right? They've gotten to that level.
Right.
That's fantastic for them. So maybe they're at 150,000 total, which again for a studio like that, right? That's a lot. That gives them a lot of capital back, hopefully enough to be able to go do the next game. So that's great. But yeah, if you're at 50 to 100 million plus marketing, because a game like that they will market, right? Because they want to get the money back. You know, you're just putting a lot of money in front, so you have to get a lot of sales to get that back. It just is what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, so like on this list though, like Chia, I believe was a launch exclusive PlayStation game, correct?
Hmm.
So
I get
that's
Chia
now coming-
confused with what is it? It starts with a K. Kenna, Bridge of Spirits. I get
Kenna,
those
which is also
confused.
coming this next month, I think.
That was-
I'm
and
excited
that-
for Kenna
to
to hit
Xbox.
Xbox.
That was originally on PlayStation.
Yep.
Yeah,
I bought
I
it
think
there.
that's coming next month. Is it?
Chia looks
Just
adorable.
enjoy.
Yeah,
Looks very
next month.
lighthearted and full of
It's the
personality.
Wind
Yeah,
Waker
yeah.
one, right?
And it's coming to Game Pass. That's awesome.
Mhm.
I love it. That's great. But yeah, listen, like, and I guess Neon White should be a pretty good one as well.
Yep.
A lot of people
there's
very
lots of
high on
cool
that
stuff
one.
in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Creatures of Avia. That looks pretty good.
Which one's the
The end of the
Creatures
month will be
Avia?
very interesting. I will say that, and that's it. I'm not going to really tell you anything more. But the end of the month will be very interesting, and we'll see what that looks like. I
Creatures
can't
of
tell you
Ava
what-
is the one where you take the souls of creatures and then jump around and harvest and raise. Is that right? Am I mixing this up
Let's
with
see
something else?
here. Let's
So
Because
this
I remember
the-
thinking it looked cool.
No, here we go. What's
Oh
this?
yeah, this is the one that everyone was thinking like, oh, this should have been Everwild, like 4 years
Yes.
ago. That's
Yes.
right. I remember this one. Yeah.
It distinctly gives Everwild vibes. Yep.
Yeah, because Everwild's
Does
been around since before 2019. We still
Mhm.
don't know what it is.
I
Still
don't
don't
think
think they know what it is.
They don't have any idea. No.
No. I
Yeah,
love
but it's a
that
beautiful
season.
looking game. I
Love
love this
Rare.
type of stuff. Like Game Pass is the gift that continues to give. Paris in chat being cheeky. I see you, buddy. But yeah, like I love just the goodness.
I hate this. What is
Does he
happening?
Does he
I
really?
want to know.
Hey, Paris.
Paris, are you
No
saying
leaking,
you want
buddy,
to
no
come
leaking.
on and make an exclusive? Is that what you are you
Is there
saying?
something
Are you
big
saying
coming
you
out
want
at
to
the
drop
end of
some
the month?
bars?
that I'm-
I've seen Paris a lot lately. Just say, "Give me a link." You know what? Keep your eye out for it. Hop in here.
Paris is he knows he's always welcome. You just got to let me know and send him whatever you want.
Yeah, come on over, man.
So,
But yeah, we're not gonna go beyond that. Sorry.
yeah. So yeah. But yeah.
Just keep
so
your eyes out.
basically
It'll be fun times.
Just some good
Be fun
things
times.
coming. We just
You
we
guys
know
are
that.
so mean. So mean.
Why?
Fun
I
times.
don't know anything. I'm just saying. I'm just from what I'm understanding that there is some good things coming this month.
Hopefully,
Whether you
hopefully.
know what they're tongue in cheek talking about or not, there are good things coming just based on the public information of this list, and that's the coolest part,
exactly
right? Like we are
There's
set
already great
for.
stuff.
Yeah, as an Xbox gamer, you're getting treated very well in the month of July. And then through the course of the rest of the year, you've got multiple first-party titles that are front and center in marketing, which is a good, pretty telling thing given the lack of marketing that has accompanied some of the previous Xbox projects. This is a year where Xbox gamers have been able to celebrate pretty regularly from showcase on through the end of the year. And that's a really cool feeling because that's a nice dub that I don't think we've gotten to celebrate consistently, but post showcase, the excitement and the enjoyment has just been there. And like, what do we have on the slate now? Microsoft Flight Sim, COD, Diablo expansion, Avowed, Indiana Jones, Starfield expansion, Gears in the future, Doom is next year. Like there's just so many wins to get to celebrate, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Hargeet grinning. I see you.
No, I'm just saying, like even next month we have which we probably don't think about much on this side, but World of Warcraft has a massive new DLC arc starting in late August, right after Gamescom. And you know, I don't know what that means for Game Pass, probably nothing, but at least from a Microsoft perspective, this is them taking a major win in the PC market. So We'll see what that does for them, but like we shouldn't discount the fact that hey, that's a massive thing coming in for them from an Xbox Microsoft perspective going in to next month, right? So
can I expand, or can I dig into that just a little bit
Yes,
too,
go
just
right
to get
ahead.
a little bit of context? This is the first time that we've actually had like the original writer and creator of the story of the history of World of Warcraft come back from retirement to jump into an expansion. We've been without him for about 10 years, I want to say, for quite a while. I think Legion was the last one that he dabbled in the story. So having him come back to actually like be involved with an expansion at the story level is going to bring a lot of old school WoW subs. They're going to reactivate next month, and we're going to probably see some big numbers, especially given the success of Diablo 4. A lot more groundswell in Blizzard's company for people interested in that kind of realm. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on it just because I want to see what they end up doing with it. But like, this is the start of the next like 10 years of really good story in World of Warcraft, and the fact that Microsoft now has that cash flow coming in for them, if they do well by it, which it's their biggest team, it's their biggest cash cow, it could be big for Xbox.
I would like to see Microsoft find a way to incorporate Game Pass and World of Warcraft together. Logan, this was an idea that you originated, at least in my mind, on XEP some months ago. But the idea of finding a way to get Battle.net subs or Warcraft subs linked into with Game Pass in order to bring Warcraft people into the world of Game Pass, perhaps increase sub numbers, which could do dividends for Xbox in bigger realms, but somehow, some way, find a way to capitalize not just on the goodwill of World of Warcraft, but on Game Pass, and find them a way to link in a better, more profitable way overall, because I think that's something that hasn't happened the way we expected to. And again, all eyes in the next month, 2, 3 months, Activision Blizzard are going to be making moves in order to speak to different audiences, and that's good. But Warcraft, I think, is a big opportunity for them. And again, I credit you, Logan, with presenting that to me months ago. That wasn't my idea, but like the way you pitched it then made more sense to me.
What they really should do, and if they could manage this, it would be huge. Every WoW expansion or every WoW sub is $15 a month, like baseline. Most people usually like will sub for a longer period of time, knowing that they're going to be invested in it just because that's where their social structure is. If they can get even just Xbox PC, Game Pass PC, like tied to that $15 a month subscription, you would have a huge number of people that would start to dabble in Xbox Game Pass PC, because honestly, like what Activision did with the Battle.net launcher back when they threw on, I think it was like Crash Bandicoot to start with, and then it was like Destiny 2, and then it was Call of Duty. When Activision games started coming over to Battle.net, a lot of people who were staunchly against it eventually started to dabble in those other games because it was just there on the launcher. And if you start to put some of those games that are on Game Pass PC into the Battle.net launcher, there's an exponentially larger opportunity for those WoW sub only people to start playing around with those other games. And that is a great way to start looping people into that Xbox ecosystem. Very easy way.
I'm curious if anyone in our chat is most like if you enjoy or focus on World of Warcraft or the like, and I'm curious if you wouldn't be tempted, because like I at first when I heard your idea, Logan, I remember thinking like, I don't know, man, but the more I thought about it, the cost is the same, but if you can get them into new markets by way of Game Pass, maybe they're spending money in a Sea of Thieves ecosystem, maybe they're spending money in a COD ecosystem or something like that. There's a lot of opportunity to make moves with Game Pass and Warcraft in ways that I don't think I was initially open to when I first thought about it, because I'm a console peasant, and I grant that, right? But I just prefer that style of gaming, and that's an entire market that Xbox has been going after in the PC space.
Yeah.
I mean, what if they just put it in Ultimate?
I don't know that they would go that far, because I think that they want to, because already like World of Warcraft people are already getting fleeced the way Destiny 2 people are. You've got the WoW sub, you've got the cost of the expansions, you've got the mounts in the store, you've got boosts for your characters, you've got transfers and racial changes for your characters, you've got class changes. Like they nickel and dime you like about it, almost definitely more than like Diablo 4, and around the same amount as like a Destiny 2. So it's really hard to look at the in my mind at least, it's really hard to look at the numbers and think we're already getting them for a lot now. Do we want to take that potential hit by giving them Xbox or Game Pass Ultimate? Like I think it would be fine, but I would argue that most people who play WoW are predominantly PC only, and they probably have Battle.net and they probably have Steam, and that's probably like a good chunk of what that player base.
Well, so
dabbles in.
Battle.net is just a store, right? They would have to pay for the $15 a month or whatever to have WoW subscription on top of that, right?
Yeah,
exactly, right. So if you just said, hey, you know what, pay for Ultimate, and it's just included, you get the $15 subscription included.
Yeah.
So that's and then Abdel
Right.
114 is a really good point. They earn more from microtransactions than subs, anyways. So bring in 40 million more players. People would be worth it because if they're there, I mean, look, if there's people that are be like, like, well, I don't really care much for for Game Pass or whatever. I'm subscribing to this, but if you get them, they're like, oh well, you're paying this pretty much the same thing anyway. If you just go ahead and do a subscription to, or it's a little more, but if you do a subscription to the Ultimate, then you're going to have this much more. Plus, also Ultimate can also still give you other added values such as perks, like as in-game items or exclusive
Special mounts
or maybe even some like a gold, like a gift of a small gift of gold type thing that you can spend any way you want to in the game. Those are things that are possibility if you get it into the ecosystem. And also with that brings up the numbers for Game Pass, which is recurrent, and shareholders love that shit.
Right.
Yeah. It's definitely something that if they did do, they could start to capitalize on the way that they do with like Sea of Thieves, where they have bundles for different cosmetic packs that come with like in-game currency. You could easily take a good handful of a lot of the older cosmetics that have been in World of Warcraft that are available through their in-game shop that you just buy for real money. You could easily grab a few of those, add some gold onto it, and add that as like a bundle the way that they do for like Sea of Thieves cosmetics and stuff as well too. It makes more sense to open up World of Warcraft to the 40 million people on Game Pass Ultimate. The trouble is that you're still looking at a PC only game, and how many of that 40 million are on PC with Game Pass Ultimate? Like in my mind,
so 2/3 subscribe to Ultimate already.
Yeah.
Of the remainder, there are some that are PC, some that are console. I think the majority of console already are on Ultimate. Well, because the problem is if you don't do Ultimate, you can't play online, right? Because now that they've collapsed core into Game Pass, right? It used to be you could get Xbox Live separately of Game Pass. You can't anymore.
Yeah.
So you either subscribe to what was Xbox Live Gold and then you have no Game Pass, or you get Game Pass and then you have no Gold. So you have to subscribe to both you have to pay for Ultimate to get both. So for console, it just kind of makes sense. You're kind of going to Ultimate, which includes PC Game Pass, right?
Yeah.
But for PC Game Pass players, they could just get PC Game Pass. That's fine. The perk would be is if you say, hey, you know what? If you get Ultimate, you include World of Warcraft. You include the subscription to World of Warcraft. What would be really cool is if they get rid of online paywall on the console and say Ultimate tier includes the expansions, right? So now you have the expansions, right? So because right now you can go to Elder Scrolls Online and subscribe, and if you do, you'll get all the expansions. You can subscribe to Fallout. You get all the expansions. Same thing. You can say, hey, World of Warcraft, if you get Ultimate tier, you just get it. You get all of it, right? Much like you get with EA Play Pro or Ubisoft Plus, you get the whole kit and caboodle, everything, right? So they could start looking at it that way. Maybe that tier would be more expensive if you want to do everything. But maybe that's something they can kind of move towards. It's not going to happen this year. I doubt it's going to happen.
Right.
No. It's too soon for that to go.
So go ahead. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I see Blue Arrow's comment in chat asking like, won't Fire Stick help boost numbers? He's talking about Game Pass numbers.
Mhm.
Certainly, yes, but I don't think that's a main driver of that. That's a supplemental thing, and
Yeah.
like Xbox is ticking and nicking away at different aspects of other markets to try and expand their influence. And I think what we're talking about are two different approaches to Xbox trying to expand their business model. One being in the PC space via World of Warcraft, via Game Pass, Ultimate subs, trying to get that market into the world of Xbox that currently exists separately. And then in the Fire Stick realm, that's more about introducing people that maybe don't want to buy another console. Maybe they're a Switch household. Maybe they're a PlayStation Switch household. And they see the option to check out Xbox, maybe Halo Infinite or Gears E-Day or something is tempting. But hey, all you need is your controller. Well, I've got a controller and maybe I pick up a trial. I try it out. They're trying to expand in a different realm there. So Xbox has a lot of plates that are spinning in order to expand their business model. And there should not be any doubt whatsoever in any gamer's mind, because obviously in the podcasting space, we are enthusiasts, we're interested, we have these conversations. But there were moments in the last decade at various times where we've been like, is Xbox committed? They're committed. Like, this is huge level of investment across multiple markets to try and expand the reach of what Xbox is and what it means to see an Xbox logo. And I've slowly acclimated to the new approach. I think there were times where exclusivity gave me pause in different conversations in my mindset and different positions. But more and more do I see the vision that Xbox has, and I'm more and more in line with it now in my personal taste. As long as Gears, Forza, Halo, the stuff that I actually like, aren't going anywhere and we're expanding in other places, I don't see it as a net loss in any way.
Yeah, there's Microsoft does have a roadmap, a big picture. You step back, they have a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, a 20-year plan that's on the board, and of course those things can change and they adapt to the times, the markets, and what's actually working and what's not. Because that's how they became a $3 trillion company. Is they can pivot. And also shout out to Mr. Joanna Dark,
What's up, dude?
Def Leopard, Red Wolf. What's up? Oh my goodness, so many great members of the community that are jumping in here. And if I haven't mentioned your name, please don't take offense. It's just there's so many people, but I love it. I appreciate it.
Over it's a good problem to have, my friend.
Exactly, over 300 people now watching here on YouTube and on X. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. We're on our way to on the road. Let me get my little banner up there. Yell at when I don't do that. Please subscribe. We're on our way to 3K. That's it. There we go. So yeah, help us get there. That would be much appreciated. Not to. I got Abdel's comment up here, and I want to kind of focus on that just for a second. I'll get all y'all's opinion on that, but so bring WoW to console through cloud gaming. Actual, some members of the development team on WoW actually mentioned that they would love to be able to bring WoW to console. I'm sure there's some restrictions, not necessarily restrictions, but some things, obstacles and things that have to work through to make it make it happen. Del made another good point too. It's already on GeForce Now, which is our next topic. We're going to mention. We're going to go into that next. But yeah. But yeah, it's a streaming possibility. Because we, it's well, I know when I played a while, there was a little hack program I put on my PC where I played it with my controller. I didn't even have to worry about mouse and keyboard because everything was functional. I could quick buttons to bring up everything I needed to do on a controller because I'm more controller based. That's just me. So what do you guys think? And we'll start off with Logan, and we'll go around that way. What do you guys think that should WoW be brought to consoles, and if so, how or why not?
I think the precedent that MMOs on console is possible. One of the problems with World of Warcraft is skill bloat. the amount of buttons that you need for that game are reasons why Razer has like 10 button mouse keypads on their mice. You know, like the macro is anyone that's played World of Warcraft has had to learn how to write macros for things. It'd be almost impossible to play that. Dungeons and raids and stuff are built around the highest tier levels with the most amount of coding involved to try and address timing and placement of different things and how to navigate just how those work. They would severely need to cut back on just the general design philosophy around World of Warcraft to be able to accommodate a controller. Now that wasn't necessarily the question, so I wanted to actually address the question, which was, could they bring it to cloud streaming? And the answer is yes. You could very easily bring it to cloud streaming. You could do that through the browser on PC, or you could do it through console, but it would be one of those rare situations where you would have to have a mouse and keyboard attached to your console to be able to do this. The game has the breadth of graphic settings to be able to handle what the Xbox can offer as far as hardware concern is. The SSD's really the biggest boon there, but you would want to try and ensure that going forward, the game is developed in a way that is much closer to Final Fantasy 14 or Elder Scrolls Online. And that is something that will ultimately peeve off a large portion of the fan base, because if you guys want to go back to 2018, the Blizzard fan base is adamant about being a PC first company. Like, they were not fans of when Diablo 3 was coming to console. They were not fans of the fact that Overwatch was coming to console. They hated the idea of Diablo Immortal, even though Diablo Immortal was actually a really good Diablo game. But the fact that it was on mobile really, really pissed off a lot of that player base. So you have to kind of gradually work the idea in that they're building in accessibility and changing design philosophy around how WoW is built right now. And they are just trying to get back goodwill. Dragonflight was the first expansion in a while that has actually garnered a lot of faith in the studio to be able to bring out a competent and enjoyable experience, but is still running the risk of being inaccessible to the vast majority. And if you open that up to console without addressing some of those major issues that I talked about, you're going to have a hard time really justifying the development cost to bringing it to a console through controller. But I do think having it available on cloud streaming is a brilliant way to give players an opportunity to not have to worry about that install size, especially if they're working off of like a laptop or something, and have access to like a mouse and keyboard somehow.
Yeah. Agreed. That's I do remember the times when they were at was a BlizzCon and they made the announcement and they were like, and it's coming to mobile, and everybody was like, boo.
Yeah.
Like, ooh,
And they got defensive,
Yep.
wrongfully so.
Yeah, exactly. Luke, what are your thoughts?
I think bringing World of Warcraft to console is a fine idea, provided it's not Xbox exclusive. It would have to go to PlayStation in order to justify the work, and that feels very strange to say, right? Like, that's the part that's a little bit odd, but it has to go to PlayStation in order to be worth the investment and the time. And the reason I say that is the entire premise of Xbox's model right now is that the console market is not growing. And so they're trying to reach new places. And why would you put all the work to bring in this incredible cash cow legacy title of World of Warcraft and isolate it to a small group of people? I don't think you would. And so you would want it to be multi-platform in the console space, be it Switch 2 or PlayStation. Like we're literally talking about it being on GeForce Now and going into other places and putting apps on TVs, apps onto Fire Sticks. You would want it in as many places as possible, because that's just the nature of the beast. It is just odd to be an Xbox content creator and say, well, they can do it and they should do it, but they shouldn't make it exclusive. that is still something I'm a bit hung up on. But they've been talking about it for a while. For sure, they've had builds and tests and prototypes. And if you were able to hack way back when and successfully enjoy a controller, we know that it can be done. And I think that's it's a matter of choice and ROI, return on investment, right? They've got to get bang for their buck and time and energy. And so that's the curiosity. What I'd really be interested in is, would they do it for Xbox Series S and X as well as, pardon me, would they put it on the next Xbox or have it XS and the next generation? Like, would they have it cross-gen? And I would think you absolutely would, right? But it's just something to consider.
Their graphics are set up in a way that you can really customize just what like you can kind of tweak with. So I absolutely believe you could get that thing running on the S even for next gen and still have a pretty comparable experience to some of the lower end PCs.
Well, Logan, you know the Xbox Series S ruined gaming, right?
Oh, that's
the
right.
Series
I'm
S
sorry.
ruined
I
video
take back
games.
what I said. I don't mean that at all. There's no way
Okay.
we're ever going to get past this generation
Good.
unless we just murder
Burn
that
it.
S.
Yeah, there's no way to have
Burn
fun
it
on
to
an
the
S2.
ground.
It's science.
Keep it as the toaster that it rightfully is.
That's right. That's right. I love my
Hargeet,
S.
Hargeet, how do you like your toast? Just kidding.
Toasty.
Hmm.
Yes.
I couldn't help it,
Yeah, as far as streaming, yeah, they certainly could do something like that. I guess GeForce it's not official, is it? Has it been officially done? It is official. Is that
You
correct?
said it. So I
You're
went
talking
with what
about
you
World
said.
of Warcraft or Game Pass?
No. The GeForce coming to Xbox. Because there was some rumor
Oh.
about that, but I don't know if that's official or not. I can't remember if it was officially.
I think it's
out there.
still a rumor. Let's go ahead and
It's
bring
still
up
a rumor,
the,
right?
We're gonna
it's
lean
not
on
official
rumor.
yet. Okay. So if that,
because
seems
some
to be
of
a
the,
little
some of the
bit of a
games have
clickbait.
actually, when you look at them, they're actually tagged on saying that stream on GeForce type things. Like what? Well, why is that on my screen? Kind of thing. So that's where people are getting it from.
Gotcha.
yeah, but there was supposedly something about Xbox bringing GeForce Now. Like you can do it yourself if you go to the browser, but directly as an app on Xbox, so that you can just bring up. And I can't remember if that was official or not. If it was a rumor, but always we get these leaks, right? So whichever way, if that is happening, then yeah, you could absolutely do that, right? Because it has to be PC. It has to be PC. So it's got to be one of these PC providers. The other one, Boosteroid, I think lets you install whatever you have, but I don't know if Battle.net is one of the stores they have. So they'd have to bring it somewhere else. I don't know if that's what they would want to do there. I don't know, but they would have to work that out. But it's totally viable, right? It just needs to be a PC backend, and there's several cloud providers out there that they could work with to say, hey, let's bring that to the consoles and run it via cloud, right? It's totally an option. Would they bring it native? That's the big question, and it'd be a very good idea to try to bring it native. Why not, right? Because it's available controller with controller support. So what's the downside? I guess is as long as the platforms are still around, go ahead, right? The question is how much porting cost is there, and hopefully it's not that big a deal. And then yeah, just go ahead and bring it to the consoles. Would you put it everywhere? I mean, why not? I guess. I mean, it is kind of like as many players as possible type of game, right? So, so would you put it on Switch? Would you put it on PlayStation? Probably, right? I think they would want to just expand this as much as possible, right? It's already pretty big as it is, right? So, okay, like if they want to put it everywhere on consoles, sure. But could you do it with streaming? Yes, I think you could. Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah.
Include it with NVIDIA. Well, but that's
options.
is that on a console? Or is that just it's on a PC screen?
This shows the PC screen, so that's
Yeah.
one thing I see. So I don't know if there's any.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? So I don't know if it's like because what they were supposedly going to do is have an actual app on console that allows you to leverage GeForce Now. So if that's a viable thing, I don't remember if that was official or not. But if it's official, then yeah, that's basically how you do it. And you'd get like, depending on your subscription level to GeForce Now, you'd get like a 4080 level of performance on it. So what the heck? So yeah, it's very viable. It's certainly viable to bring it that way to console. They just have to work out a few kinks, right, to make sure it runs in sort of controller focused console interface. However, there are games that run with keyboard mouse. So you can do keyboard and mouse support on the console. It's there.
You sure can. Yep.
So if players want to use keyboard and mouse, use a console to play it, fair enough, right? So it's available. It is definitely an option. I'd love to see the actual like native port though. That would be kind of convenient. But we'll see what they do with it, right? And what is the attachment to Game Pass there? I don't know, right? Because this is a subscription, right? So how do they make that work with GeForce Now? We'll see, right? It won't be a Game Pass entitlement, but they're supposed to have all the games available via cloud streaming for ABK with GeForce Now, with Boostroid, Ubitus, a couple of other ones, whatever they were, right? Whatever those available cloud services are, and then Ubisoft owns the rest, right? So as far as how do we when do we see whatever on a cloud streaming service, will be up to Ubisoft. We'll see what happens next for those games, but yeah, it's an interesting point of like, will it be available on console through streaming? Yeah, it could be. It could very well be, and it might be something they could pull off within the next month or two, right? So that thing comes out, I think, the end of August. The new expansion. By then, could they have this worked out? Sure, they could. And it could be a nice little thing on the front page of your Xbox saying, hey, you want to try out World of Warcraft? We've given you access to it via your Game Pass subscription. And if you want to pay for the higher resolution, go for it. If not, GeForce Now, the default, free tier, whatever it is, you can just go ahead and start playing right now. Right. So.
Exactly. Welcome out to K Asante. Welcome, buddy.
Asante.
That's right. That's right. And just to update everybody, and in case Kay doesn't know, they may not have heard this because we announced it earlier. But Retri has officially left the Gamers Council. He is no longer a part of the show. He took a step back for family reasons. He wanted to spend more time with his wife and family. Him doing basically the whole weekend of shows was kind of was becoming a little bit much. Everything's good, don't get me wrong. It's just a matter of he had to make a decision, and family first, and we agree with that 1000%. He's always welcome to come back here and be a guest and hang out with us anytime. So just so you know that Retri probably will be back occasionally. So we wish him all the luck in the world. He's a hell of a guy, and the show wouldn't be where it is today without him. And I'll say that. So there, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Okay. So enough was said on that. But yeah. So but back to the to the topic at hand. I do want to say that the possibilities, with Game Pass. I mean, I'm like a lot of people that like, I want it all now. Let's do it now. I want it now. Let's go now. All ABK, everything.
But you
now.
can't
Let's
play
go
it now, right?
Right.
You can't
Exactly.
Play it now. That's
exactly. Exactly.
How
so
dare you?
Let's now, but now. I want it now. But I think things are coming. I think the smart thing for them to do now that they have such a vast back catalog, is to they gave us Diablo 4, which was big. Is to kind of it's not necessarily trickle out, but maybe pace it. I guess separate a little bit. There's already so many amazing games coming to Game Pass, which, like I said, more is better. I'll agree. More choices, more diversity, more more options, more different kinds of games. Family friendly, sports, all the kind of stuff that comes to Game Pass is fantastic. And if they give it would I like to have all the CODs all at once? That would be a hell of a drop, and if they probably maybe they should, or at least maybe all of the Black Ops editions, and then go from there, kind of thing. If they had to break those up into different sections or whatever, but just eventually, I want it all. I'm greedy. I definitely want it all. But I'm okay with them, breaking up smaller parts. It's we want
every
Tony
time they
Hawk.
do a drop, it's an article. And every article mentions Game Pass and the stuff that's coming, and Avowed and Doom and E-Day. And that's the benefit of splitting it up. But it would be cool if we got like a Black Ops drop or something like leading up to Black Ops, we're going to drop Black Ops 1, and then 2 weeks later, Black Ops 2. They did something like that. Because then the word of mouth allows the conversation to change a little bit. But all at once, I don't think is the right call. But much like you, I want that, right? Like that's what I want it to be. I already subscribe to Game Pass, but they're not talking to us. They're talking to people that are not subscribed. That's what they want.
Exactly. That's what they need to acquire, right? That the customer they don't already have, and how do they get to them?
And I wouldn't be opposed to them just lumping all of the CODs into one drop. Maybe separated from other games that they have that they would drop. But I mean, for the simple fact that like around the holidays when they have their exclusive marketing on their own box, saying that Call of Duty, right there on the cover of a box, and then say included in Game Pass, plus every other COD game ever made included in Game Pass. If you're a COD sole person that plays nothing but COD, this is the box, the program for you. Because even like I said, even if you get your Fire Stick, a little Fire Stick box ought to have a sticker on it, play Call of Duty through your Fire Stick. I've got a Fire Stick, but I'm getting a brand new one, the newest with the 16 gigabyte version, the newest one, just closer to the holidays, but just to have to go mobile, like when I go over to friends or families or on vacation or whatever, I could just take my Fire Stick with me and log in wherever I'm at. That'll be the convenience of that. Right. So, but yeah, so guys, wow, we're already an hour in, and I appreciate you guys being here. Don't worry, we're not done yet. But I do want to thank and welcome out the over 350 people here that are watching on X and on YouTube. So thank you so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. I do have a couple of quick, I'm going to say bounty or bunty. Bunt, as they would say, for re-upping again. Remember now for 9 months, and our lowest tier is only $1. We wanted to make it so it's easy. So and with that, you get access for just $1. You get access to all of these emojis, which I'm getting ready to drop. If you are on YouTube, it is I think it's worth it for the buck and more added. And sometimes we switch things up. But yeah, there you go. So, and then also we had KJ Ward 85 says he's a member for 7 months. Says, "What's up, guys? What's up?
What's up, KJ Wars?"
Oh goodness. All right. So yeah. But guys, where do we want to take the conversation now? I guess let's talk a little bit more about the Fire Stick. Get your thoughts on the Fire Stick. Do you think it's a good thing? And I mean, it's already, I guess the app, as it were, is available on Samsung TVs. I think it's a smart partnership. What do you guys think? We'll start at the top there. Logan, we'll start with you, buddy.
I think it's great, man. I think it's amazing. While we were talking about the Call of Duty drop on Game Pass, I kept thinking about with like the Fire Stick and how right now, like if you're playing on PlayStation, we'll take that as the biggest example because the market leader, you probably don't have access to all of those different Call of Duties. Some of them are probably locked on past generations. And if you're not quite ready to jump into another console because you love your Spider-Man and you're looking forward to Wolverine or something like that, having something like a Fire Stick, which is a good alternative if you don't have like a smart TV that is something that feels like you can actually navigate and use the menu. Because let's be honest, like usually those things are super slow unless you have like one of the C1s, the LG C1s or something. And even now, like my LG C1 still starting to feel like a little sluggish when I'm navigating stuff. It's like the Fire Stick is a great way to try and have something that gives you access to all the different streaming apps that you normally want to use. And getting access to Game Pass through that, way simpler than having to try and figure out GeForce Now or have like a Samsung TV if you want like a good quality TV. Most people are going to lean towards whatever HD TV on YouTube is telling you is like the best one for your consoles. So having access to all of the Call of Duties just through Game Pass, if you've already got like a Fire Stick or you're looking to get one, what a fantastic win for Xbox, because that is so much easier than having to haul around an Xbox Series X for or an Xbox Series S to a hotel room to try and hook up with like whatever weird TV they have in the hotel room just to be able to play games, or buy one of those what is it, XSplit I think is the manufacturer for the screens on there. I can't remember the
I know what
maker
you
on
mean.
there. Yeah, so the having like one of those on your Xbox Series S is like, yeah, you can have like all your games on there, but it's only 1 terabyte, so you're probably going to have like an expansion card if you want to play more than like 2 or 3 games, given the size of them nowadays. So having just the streaming option, and especially through the Fire Stick, is such a good deal for folks that just want to have like a solid access to it. I have gone, where is it? It's over there. I can't reach it. I have my Logitech G Cloud, which I love because I can still access Game Pass, but I can still do like console streaming for all of my different consoles. So like PlayStation, Xbox. The only thing I can't do is my Switch, but I can still do Steam Link and stuff like that. So X Screen, of course, Sante's got that for me. X Screen, amazing manufacturer for that stuff. I love the fact that they did that. Harkens back to the PS1 days with the PS1 like the revision that they did, like chef's kiss. But yeah, I'm really happy that the Fire Stick is now being included. Can't wait to see when Apple and Xbox or Microsoft shake hands and you see Game Pass available through the Apple TV, because I think that's the only big market besides the Fire Stick.
Yeah, agreed. Go ahead, Luke.
I was just say I really am excited by the partnership for a number of reasons. One of the things that I've really enjoyed about this past summer is just dabbling into Lords of the Fallen and cloud gaming. And I saw Big Shum in chat saying like it wouldn't work well. I really have to disagree now, because I was playing on not great Wi-Fi at my in-laws with my backbone attached to my phone and doing just fine against some of these big bosses in a game that's very much like it matters how your timing is. And I saw a lot of success there. Perfect? No, not perfect, but very much a doable and functional system. And I would really be interested in seeing just what Xbox can do now that they have access to that many more consumers. We know that Project Keystone was a thing, and I bet you guys, if it wasn't Fire Stick and we were saying Keystone, everybody'd be excited. But Keystone's cost would have been so high because you have to include a controller and get people in. This is a lower barrier for entry to get more people going with the same technology. And so I'm very much on board with it. I love the idea that more people can get their hands on it, try out stuff that's in Game Pass, because it supports what I want it to be. So I very much push back on the idea that it wouldn't perform well. This isn't 2017, 2019, 2021. We're dealing with a technology that's been iterated on and improved, and it's doing quite well. And so would I want to play COD and care about my KD and ranked? No. But would I jump into a casual match? Yeah, I've had great matches in Halo Infinite on cloud and been just fine. So, I think it's very much a great place to see the Xbox app. I hope it happens in more places. But because Amazon's the first, I'd really like to see Amazon invest in promoting it as well. But, we'll see if that happens at all. So
I think they would, because
I hope so.
it's going to move sticks.
I hope so.
Yeah. Hargeet?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great partnership. The thing with Keystone is not only do you have to sell it, but you have to acquire the customers. That's kind of the problem. Fire Stick's already out there. You don't have to acquire those customers; they're already there. It's just a question of whether they'll leverage it for Game Pass or not. And that's an open thing for them. Like the customer can choose to try it and say, "Hey, this is pretty cool. I'll keep playing," or "Yeah, it's not for me." And it just depends on where you are, how good your internet is, how far you are from servers, right? Things like that, all that. If it works out, hey, why not, right? So there's a couple of things to think about when it comes to these things. A lot of people look at it from their perspective. Most of the people that are here in the chat and in panels, we're all very hardcore gamers. We're much more enthusiastic and therefore very willing to spend money and buy a console, buy a PC, right? So I'm more looking at the customer that can't afford to buy a console, can't afford to go to the level that we do, that where it's a casual hobby and they're like, hey, there's that cool game that just came out. Say it's, I don't know, pick one, South of Midnight. That looks pretty kind of weird. I want to try it. I don't want to spend the kind of money it needs to. Oh, wait, hey, I can just use it on my Fire Stick? Oh, what do I need to buy? I need to buy a controller. Oh, Amazon's got one for $20. Oh, okay.
Hargeet, you're touching on something. If you're watching Fallout, and your Fire Stick will let you jump over and play Fallout or order a controller or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the benefit.
And then if you're in a country where it's very expensive to get into gaming, this could be an entry, right, that you can get into, right? It takes away that barrier of entry that you need to have, even a low end $250, $200 Series S. You've gotten rid of that barrier of entry, and Game Pass isn't the same price everywhere. In those countries, it's likely cheaper. They can get in, pay that little bit, and try something, right? Maybe you're on your annual leave, and you're like, hey, I want to play a couple of games here and there. Like, okay, I'm just gonna pay for Game Pass for a month, try it out, or pay for GeForce Now for a month or whatever, right? Boom, right there you go, and you've got access to all this stuff, right? So there's the potential for these things, and like I think it's cool that they're partnering with one of the bigger ones. I really do think Apple TV is one they should go after next. And then Roku is another one that they should go after next, right? To say,
Definitely.
hey, these are also ones that that are out there. People use them. They're attached to their TV already. Let's just get these streaming apps on there. There's no reason to not take advantage of that. It really comes down to the hardware that's built in. The big pieces, of course, it has to have good low latency access to a controller, right? So you have to make sure that's there, or you have to get a Wi-Fi controller that connects directly to the internet and eliminates that latency issue, right? Well, it won't eliminate the latency. It's obviously that's always going to be there. There's latency no matter what, but it eliminates an extra latency that could be added with a high latency Bluetooth connection. So that's what they got to work through. That was the reason why it took a while to get the Samsung TV thing, and it's not every Samsung TV. It's that they had to have the hardware built into it to do that low latency for the controller, and that's where they're working with other TV manufacturers. Eventually, that's what's going to happen, right? Because most of the TV manufacturers will have it, but there's a bunch of people that have older TVs that aren't going to go buy a $5,000 TV or a $3,000 TV or a $2,000 TV or a $1,500 TV. They have a $50 TV, and that's okay. Let them go ahead and play games, right? That's what they're looking at. They want to get to the big customers, the big customer numbers, as far as the quantity of customers that aren't going to have the high end anything, that aren't the enthusiasts. And that's where you kind of gain into that multi-billion players thing, is to say, I'm targeting the folks that can't get into this world. How do I get them enticed? How do I bring them in? And how do I make it affordable for them? And this is where this kind of thing is really cool. Right. Eventually, I'm hoping it just becomes available native to them as well. But for now, hey, if they can get in, let's do it. How do we get them in? And I applaud them for trying it. It may not be the same economics, right? It might not be $17. They might have to do it for $7 a month in certain countries. Fine. Right. Because look, it's just additive, right? They're not going to get the customer anyway. Now they get them, right? Even $7 a month, that's a customer. It's something. You have to look at it from the perspective of what they can afford and what they can give you. And right. So they're going to do all that. And that's what they have to deal with. And I think that's really cool, is if they can push this further and say, hey, for those customers that just can't afford it, they're not going to be able to buy a $300 console, $500 console. That's just not going to happen. Right. Then what do I do to make that a customer of mine? And this is kind of the thing you do. You say, are you going to get a Fire Stick? Are you going to have Roku? Are you going to, whatever you have there, can I help connect you up? Right. Make it as cheap as possible to get you in. This is cool stuff. Right. So I hope they do more of this stuff. It's a great idea. I hope they do more of this stuff. Now, will it take off? I don't know. Right. It may fizzle.
That's what I was going to say. The deal is about they're trying to execute on the whole Amazon Luna and xCloud visions. Each company is trying to okay, we've invested into this vision.
Exactly.
What do we do with Luna? What do we do with xCloud to expand? And so they're like, all right, cut losses, share profits. Is that what we're going to do? So if it doesn't fizzle, both companies are poised to do well. But this is their second go in a lot of ways, both of them.
Yeah, so we'll see what they do with it, right? And it may be that cloud gaming doesn't really take off and become the standard, and a low end, very cheap version of this is what people will end up using for their gaming. Fair enough, right? So we don't know where things go, right? That the next, I guess, Luke, you probably have more intuition into this. Do children growing up actually care about a TV? How many of them are on, a mobile device or an iPad versus a TV?
Oh yeah, they do not like
Doom
consoles
generation.
and TVs are not a thing for them. It's phones and tablets and really anywhere
Right?
they can log
Totally
in.
different mentality from what we have, right? Totally different
Very much so.
mentality.
Very
We
much
don't
so.
know what happens 20 years from now. Those kids are coming around and saying, "What's a TV?" And you're like, "Oh." Right?
I want to push back on this because this goes into some of the issues that I have on a regular basis, and Luke knows probably where I'm going with this. A lot of this, I think, deals with expendable cash. We just do not have the expendable cash that we used to have. If we had more money to spend on stupid stuff like consoles and TVs, we probably would have children who cared a lot more about those types of things. Because when my parents had expendable cash, I wanted that 14-inch Zenith TV in my room with my Super Nintendo. That was what I wanted. But a lot of kids these days, it's like they got their phone and they can't afford to really be, they're worried more about gas than they are about like whether or not they're going to have a really nice TV. So
Do you
I
mean
think
combustible gas or games as a service?
yes.
I didn't know what you meant.
Yes.
I was being serious. Are you talking about spending in Fortnite, or are you talking about
I think both.
travel places?
I think genuinely both. I think they care more about
okay.
saving money to spend stuff on microtransactions and when they have to go to their friend's house to play on their TV because they don't necessarily have like a good one on their own or something like that. But one of the things that Hargeet, you brought up was a really interesting point about like wanting to be on like Roku's and Apple TVs. And I 100% agree. And I forgot all about the Roku. I think one of the things that will decide on whether or not this type of service takes off is going to be dependent on whether or not Xbox can finally get that system built into cloud gaming where you can play the games that you own, not just what's available through Game Pass. Because if they can do that, then you can go to the Microsoft Store on your browser, buy a game, and then immediately stream it. And that is something that... what was that failed thing that Google tried to do where they were trying to Stadia. Yeah. Stadia was doing that. And everyone's like, no, we're not subscribing to a whole new ecosystem that we don't trust Google to actually maintain. We can trust Xbox to maintain even in the worst of times. So they could probably get people to actually buy games without ever owning a console or a PC, just on their tablet with a controller, and actually stream them through a tablet or something like that.
Probably.
Yeah, I think Boostoroid does that, right? Boostoroid gives you a cloud service where you can buy your games on whatever store, and then they just let you play it through the cloud.
Yep.
So you could do that, right? NVIDIA GeForce Now, that's the same thing, right? They basically latch onto your Epic or Steam, and then they just give you access to your games that are allowed to go to cloud, right? So, and then now Game Pass will do the same thing. If you have Game Pass, you can attach to your Game Pass, and it'll just give you access to all the PC version of Game Pass games. So that's the kind of thing that could give you that like comfort. Hey, if this went away, I'm buying games on Steam. Like Steam ain't going away, right? I got my games. I can still go get a PC and play them. That is a good point, and hopefully that allows it to be a bit more accessible to people. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens in the long term. I don't know where this all goes. Like, I'm not a heavy proponent of cloud being the answer. I think it's a nice side piece. I think ultimately it's going to be something local for most people, and it's when this thing becomes so powerful that it can play every game that you have, which will happen at some point. This will become so powerful that, like, think 20 years from now, the 5090 will be a joke, and this thing will outdo it. That's what's going to happen. It's just reality, right? So what does that look like at that point? Can you not play every game? Probably, right? So what would happen 15 years from now, 10 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now, right? Do you need to have a console? Probably not. You could cast your game from here, assuming this even survives. This could be supplanted by something. We don't know, right? This could get replaced by AR glasses or some other technology. We don't know. Things
Soon-
change.
Soon will be replaced by AI, and we won't have to worry.
Oh, there
about
is
it.
that.
We won't have to worry about like, oh, what screen am I playing on? I don't know. I'm just sitting in a chair. Things are happening around me.
Exactly. Goodness. In case y'all wondering what I'm doing, I'm giving access to.
Thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah, you guys are now moderators, by the way.
I have power.
Yeah, you do have the power, so don't piss them off. I
not
like to try and
easily-
give my guests the access to do that way. They can, sometimes people have people that follow them around that get messy, and this way it helps clean that up, as it were. So there we go. But yeah, so it's good topics, man. Good things so far. So guys, I guess is there anything that I know we had the showcase, as it were, and there was some good things, solid. One of the best showcases, which was awesome. I think we all pretty much enjoyed that. It really got some good rankings, but with that, it seemed to well, let's just get messy. It seemed to stir the pot a little bit on some of the ponies, as it were. That they wow, I don't know what to say. And
Yeah, I'm not sure where you're going.
all right, sorry. So where I'm going with this is content creators like Calamari Yachty, who has basically the goalpost, I guess, or the bar for what is acceptable for gaming. In the past, Xbox has no games. And now people are saying, well, PlayStation has no games, and well, it's not true. It's not true. Is what he says. It's all, there's so much stuff coming out. There's so many things, that are coming. We have this, and this. It's like, yeah, but we're talking first party, which is what you were slamming Xbox for just not even a year ago. Where it was terrible. It was so bad, and Xbox bad. No, it's more. I mean, I get it. Look, if it's not your brand, I understand, but let's come back to reality, man. I mean, Sony's not going anywhere. Sony's not dead, but they're not in the place they used to be, and it's a lot of choices that they've made to get them to where they're at, and so I guess to kind of as we wrap things up the rest of the show, let's just kind of talk about why Sony sucks, and no, I'm just kidding. Well, as to why PlayStation, I'm just kidding. I have one myself, but why PlayStation is in such a bad way, and what can they do to I guess to level the field, as it were, because right now and still people are not giving Microsoft enough credit, and people are fire Phil. Are you fucking stupid? Phil is the reason that Microsoft is where it is now, and the gaming division is so prominent and doing so well. And it's all these things, that like Satya said.
So if this is about competition, let us have competition.
And that's what they wanted. They were like, oh, Microsoft, you need to compete. You need to compete. Well, now they're competing, and ponies, because people are like PlayStation, or are fans of PlayStation, are not necessarily ponies, but diehard ponies that like it's PlayStation or die. That's stupid to me to be that way. But they are hurting. They're hurting, and the most thing they talk about the most is Xbox. All their content is Xbox. Why is that? Because they have nothing to talk about for PlayStation. Nothing. Anyway, so guys, what do you guys think? Anybody can go and take it any direction you want to.
What's the actual question, I guess, in it? And like
the actual question? Okay. All right. Let me rephrase it then.
I'm listening. I'm with you. I want to make sure I
all right. So
it's just how he
what
is.
does it's just all over the place. Why are PlayStation fanboys so butthurt, and and do they have a case that Microsoft isn't as good as we think that that it is, or are we delusional and they're right?
Well, so I'll go first.
Go for it.
And then you guys can jump in and correct me as needed. I think it's very much when it comes to the content creation space, people capitalize on narratives that they need in order to keep their audiences engaged. And that's what you're seeing, like you mentioned, Colin Moriarty. His legacy is PlayStation built. So it would make sense that he's talking to an audience, and his well-being and welfare, because that's his full-time job, is to talk to that fan base, right? And so I think that's part of what you're seeing. But those that are actually invested in the argument and going full in, they are being exposed to a reality that's very different than they've been used to for the past decade. And in the past decade, Xbox has stumbled even when they've won, right? Even when they take 2 steps forward, they're bumping 1 back. And it'd be foolish for any Xbox fan to pretend otherwise, right? Like, to pretend otherwise would be very foolish to say. But now we're seeing perhaps tides not necessarily turning, but we're on we're in new waters, as Xbox has acquired multiple studios, acquired multiple publishers, changed where and when and how its games are going to be available, and adjusted its hardware pacing in order to adapt and survive. Sony has not been adapting and surviving because they've had the luxury of being market leader in the HD twin sticks area, but also in just being successful. Their first party games are of a very high quality. We'd be silly to pretend otherwise, right? Like, you can't look at God of War or Spider-Man or Ghost of Tsushima and think that's not a high quality game. Whether you like it or not is up for debate. That said, because the momentum of Sony has slowed and stalled, and we're being hit with information as a result of the Insomniac hack and market readouts that they're not getting the return on investment. We're seeing a year for the first time in a long time where Sony's really slow to release a game, and they had sequelitis prior to that. These are new territories for a lot of PlayStation gamers who lived through the majority of their gaming time, kids I'm thinking of, in the PS4 era, which was pretty darn good for PlayStation, right? And Xbox One was pretty weak comparatively, but the Series S and X are pretty great systems, and Xbox is doing a fantastic job now. And when people have to adjust their opinions or absorb new information, they tend to do so reluctantly. And I think that's what's happening, is you're seeing outlash and backlash at the idea that what was established is now different. Xbox is hugely set up for the future thanks to all of their decisions. And now the horizons are quite bright for Xbox gamers. And that's a different thing for a lot of people than what they're used to. So they're having to change. Anybody that's crying and changing the goalposts and going out of their way to adjust their expectations so that their narrative is fixed, you're an idiot. Like, you're dumb. Take it as it comes. Look at the landscape and play games, not systems. So I really get very frustrated when I have to deal with bots and ponies in my console space. And I think my show would be more popular if I catered to one, but I just get exhausted by people that are like, Xbox sucks. It's like, go away. Like, be quiet. Like, I just went and saw a showcase where E-Day saw the whole Hargeet, you were there. We all were cheering and standing up and clapping, and literally some of us were hugging. Don't judge me. It was awesome, right? People were there to celebrate kind of this new Xbox era that we are now going into. That's my rant.
Go for it, Logan.
So I think there's a lot of things that are at play right now. I think Sony is going through one of the hardest times that they've had to go through. They've obviously backloaded their PS4 console to be able to have like some of the biggest hits that they've ever released come towards the end of their generation to really capitalize on pushing sales, to really try and get as many people to buy that PS4 as they could. And as a result, it did tend to leave a lot of the PS5 library kind of high and dry. And with the aggressive acquisitions that Microsoft made, it tended to scoop up a lot of those games that the Sony was probably banking on to try and slot in to try and fill out the rest of their PS5 kind of generation. A lot of the PlayStation fans right now are feeling a little hurt that not only did they not have a whole lot of games to really kind of like fill in this generation, but there was also a leadership change, which always shakes up the trust and like faith in the actual company. In the middle of a generation, that's tough for a lot of fans to really kind of think like, okay, well, where are things going? How are things going to end up being? And it's going to take some time for Sony to kind of get back into their stride. They had a lot of choices that they made this year alone that have really kind of made people feel uncomfortable with their PS4 or with the PC ports of their games requiring PC login, or requiring logins with third party and second party deals being the main drivers for their content this year. There's obviously going to be a lot of grass is greener on the other side at this point, and that's not to fault those fans, because if they are PC or PS5 only console gamers, then that is going to feel like they're being underserved. And what are they going to do? They can't lash out at the people who are in charge because they're brand new to being in that role. It's not their fault of what's happened. Jim Ryan's out of the picture. So who are they going to blame except for Microsoft? Because obviously it's their fault that we have games coming to the Xbox and not to PlayStation 5. And look at how adamant they are to just be willing to actually jump into a new title. Then Sea of Thieves coming to PS5 is one of the biggest game sales in the UK and the US. Like, they want to play the games. There's just none that are ready for them at this moment. So looking at content creators looking to try and find fault in why their content feels lackluster right now for them to be able to speak on things, it's easy to look at like the Xbox ecosystem and say like, okay, well, we would have had these had Microsoft not been so aggressive with their purchases and stuff. And to mass produce his point, second and third party is the lifeblood of a console, but it's not the system seller, and it's not the thing that generally most people will continue to choose their ecosystem based off of, because most console gamers will choose their console based on the first party IP. It's why you don't see Mario on any other system. It's because you go to Nintendo if you want to play Mario, if you want to play Zelda, if you want to play Metroid, stuff like that. So yes, you most definitely will have second and third party games filling in the gaps, but people will buy the console based on the first party content because that's usually the thing that gets bundled in. I don't expect to see a bundle for Stellar Blade for the PS5. I'm not expecting Helldivers to be thrown into a bundle for Christmas this year. I would have expected something like the next God of War or Spider-Man or Wolverine to be the thing that gets bundled into those consoles.
Yeah, agreed. Hargeet?
Wait. All right, so
Hargeet was ready. Did you guys see that? He was like, it's my time.
Oh yeah. Yes. All right. So look, Phil leaving, the leadership changes. You can tell if somebody left on their own or if they were kind of told get out of here by how many of their decisions have been reversed. And that just keeps happening. Almost everything that he's done has been reversed. So seems pretty clear that what he did didn't work. Now, one of the biggest things he did was pivot to games as a service with his large studios that make all these nice single player games, told them go make multiplayer live games as a service games. Most of them got canceled. Some of the studios got closed. So now they're kind of in a pickle because they don't have anything, because their games need to be redone. Right, those studios need to start again. They could take what they had, like Suicide Squad, and say, we'll just kind of take some of those elements away, but leave the core game the same way. How'd that work out? It didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's exactly what you get when you take a studio that's really good at making a single player narrative game and say, hey, make that live. Redfall, anyone? How about Anthem? Yeah, it rarely works. And usually by the time you do that, the studio is gutted because the people that were making the game that they wanted to make left. right? Because they're not making the game they want to make, right? So yeah, it's never a great place to be. Let's hope that doesn't happen to those studios that PlayStation has, because they do, like you were saying, Luke, they make some pretty stellar games. And you don't want that core to go away. You want them to continue to make those stellar games, right? So whether you like PlayStation or not, you got to give respect to some of their studios. They make some pretty awesome games, right? So would we
I hope
want
their
that to go away?
I want their cadence
Yeah.
to speed up, and I don't want sequels every time.
That is another
that's-
problem. This generation for them has Returnal. What's the other new IP? What other new IP do they have? Their own, right? They certainly go and get these third-party games, including some Xbox ones like Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo.
Kina.
What have they done that's new?
Concord, I think, is their only new IP, because Kena wasn't first party, Logan.
No, I'm saying like
It's-
they went and scooped up Kina as
Oh,
like
yeah.
something that they
which is not theirs, because it's coming to Xbox next month,
Mhm.
right? So that's not theirs. That was just a timed exclusivity deal. You're right. That's what they did. They went and bought those live service games, right? So they went and got Bungie. So they will, they don't have a new IP there. They have Marathon coming, but it's not new IP. They bought Haven, so Fair Games, and they have Concord, right, with Firewalk. They shut down the other one, was Fire Sprite. I don't know what the heck it was called. Whatever, they killed that studio, whatever. Right, they have that. So I don't. What do they have that's new? Right, so Concord is going to be their first new game. How's that looking? not great. Who's excited about Concord? Yay! It's not looking that great. This is unfortunately where they are, and that's a whole other fun story, right? Because Concord is being done by a whole bunch of ex-Bungie developers in Firewalk, and they were bought after Bungie was bought. It's like, seems like that was the game that seemed to not get culled, right? It passed the culling of all the other live service games. Twisted Metal gone, Spider-Man Multiverse is gone, Factions 2 gone, whatever London studio was working on gone, right? So I don't know, whatever else, everything else gone, right? The only one that survived is this, Fair Games, and Gorilla, which is Herman Hulst's studio, right? Because that's where Herman came from. So that is still moving forward. Hopefully it'll be good, right? But we don't know. And this is kind of where we are now. That's what they've got coming to you. I don't know what's exciting in all of that, right? It's not your next God of War. It's not, but it's not even something new. That's kind of the other problem. So maybe Housemarque comes up with something cool, but Housemarque isn't exactly a AAA studio. They're kind of in that AA space, like indie-ish space, which is fine. It's good, right? But they're not going to give you that tentpole end of year title. They're going to give you a nice, cool game in the middle of the year, just like they always do. So am I expecting a lot from them?
Well, say Sony's big thing at the end of the year was always COD. They relied on it.
And that's done.
Now it's done.
Forever. That's done. It is now owned by their competitor. So that is now Microsoft's end of year. That's always going to be their end of year, right? And that's the second part of this is, okay, you have almost nothing coming from this. So Ben Studio, for instance, you think they're ready to give you something? I have no idea. And that's supposed to be a multiplayer thing. Maybe it's something cool. I don't know. These are all rumors, but that I don't know when that's coming. Is that 26, 25, 26, 27? Who knows, right? When's the next thing from Naughty Dog coming? I don't know. 3 years, 4 years, right? You just got God of War from Santa Monica. When are they going to give you something? I don't know. 4 years from now, right? This is kind of the problem. It's a time problem now because they make games that take so long. It will take time for them to come up. So while that's happening, you have Nintendo coming up with a new console that's likely going to have they had a freaking little mini direct thing that was still pretty damn good, right? And that's like the little nugget before you get the real deal, because they have a major showcase that's going to tell you about the new Nintendo along with its launch lineup, right? Because that they're keeping most of their games for that, right? And they gave you a little teaser, and that was good compared to what PlayStation is doing, right? So Nintendo's bringing it. So you got that coming up early next year. That's going to be Nintendo's slate for the next 6 months after that. So basically that year is the launch of their new console with a whole bunch of new games coming, right? You got Xbox, who's now hitting their stride. The last few years, they've been putting out 4, 5, 6, 8, 7, 8 games right? First party, right? So they just keep rolling now, right? And you see that showcase, first party, 17 up, titles plus DLCs included within it, right? You've got all that coming, and that's going to be the cadence going forward, because that's basically what it's always going to look like. 4 to 5 major games every year. They're going to talk to you about that in that June showcase for that year, the following year, and then all the updates for the DLCs and expansions. You got 15 to 20 every year. That's just the way it is now. That's what you're going to get from them. First party, plus they had third party stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Plus they have all the deals they make with all these other third parties to put stuff in Game Pass, which basically becomes to you. It's like, hey, this is to me like first party. Who cares? Because I'm playing in Game Pass. I don't have to worry about this. It just comes to my Game Pass, right? Mm-hmm. Kinitsugami ain't a first party game, but who cares? It's coming to Game Pass. I'm just going to play it. Like, isn't it a first party game? But it's coming to Game Pass. I'm just going to play it, right? It's a different feel. So you have that on this side. What do you have on the other side? This is where it becomes a problem for them, right? Their problem is that they're looking at the other two and seeing their stuff happening there. The two showcases that did well, Nintendo and Xbox, not Summer Game Fest, and certainly not the PlayStation showcase, which got panned by its own fan base, right? Forget about everybody else. It got panned by its own fan base. But both of those failed, right? And the ones that were specific to those two platforms were the ones that did pretty well. And I would expect Nintendo is going to give you a pretty stellar one later on this year or early next year. Xbox's June showcase is still going to be pretty good next year. So this is because you already know what's coming, right? You got Doom, Fable, South of Midnight to begin with. And then you have other ones plus the next COD, right? That's going to always just be there. You have a killer showcase every year now. That's just what's going to happen. They just have too many studios. It's going to keep giving you like all these games. Oh, they're all in Game Pass day one. What's their answer to that, right? And so when you start looking at that from a fan perspective, it's going to start hitting you. It's going to at some point start hitting you. So some of the more, let's say, on the nose, fans who realize, this is kind of sucking, are realizing it. Some are still coping, right? You know how you have like the stages of grief, right? So they're still in the cope phase, and they're like, but there's this, and then there's that, and it's like, yeah, but it doesn't matter. Ultimately, are you playing games or you're not, right? What are you playing over there? Astro, good luck, have fun. That's basically what you got, right? And over here, we've got all these games, including like Indiana Jones, Call of Duty, they're going to have too, but Avowed, right? I've got Flight Sim, I've got, Age of Mythology, Ara, all this stuff that just keeps coming out, right? All this stuff is so cool. I've got all these games, plus Stalker's coming. So we have all these games. What you got over there? Okay, cool. That's nice. You got Astro over there, right? That's what they get. Concord's coming out next month, I think. But it's not really lighting up any fires. It's just not, right? So we'll see if that does anything. Once that kind of goes through, what happens next year? I don't know. Like, we're going to, again, have a kind of slightly light year for them next year, too. But we'll see if they can try to bring something. Marathons everywhere. That's what's going to come out. Possibly Fair Games finally makes it. That didn't exactly light up anybody's, charts as far as trying to buy that game. We'll see. Again, we don't know what it looks like. It's kind of like a Payday looking game, but we'll see what it actually is. And then you got maybe Venom, right? That's it. That's your lineup. And then what? Right? Yeah, versus, again, you'll get like 20 freaking games from Xbox. That's just what's going to happen. Oh, and by the way, Nintendo's bringing out a whole new console with a whole bunch of new games. So what are you going to look at? And this is kind of where they are. And this is kind of what Jim Ryan set them up with. And so really who you need to blame is Jim, because he set this up. This is going to play out for the next few years. What he set up, this is going to play out for the next few years. They have been riding the coattails of Shaun Layden because he set up what was happening, what those studios were making, what the deals were. He set that all up, and now you've been playing through that. And that sort of ended a couple of years ago, like a year ago, right? And now you're seeing the Jim Ryan era of PlayStation. And well, you can enjoy what you're getting. It's not looking all that great, right? And now you're seeing the Phil vision fully play out. This showcase showed you what the Phil vision is. Hey, studios, make what you want. I just want to put them all in Game Pass. Let's get the games, right? And you're going to get 4 to 5, major tentpole games every year. Plus, you're going to have Call of Duty, right? And then you're going to have little games that are going to fill out the rest of the year as well. So they're going to have a bunch of games every year. 15 to 20 new announcements every year. It's just gonna be crazy. It's just like the way it is. That's what they're doing, right? So we'll see how this all goes, but that PlayStation world is kind of in a hurting place right now. I don't know if you guys saw this from Totillo about Lego Horizon, but he asked, "Hey,
I saw that."
Right?
Yes.
Why is there no Xbox version of Lego Horizon? And the answer wasn't one that I would have expected. It was, we have nothing to, we don't have anything to announce about Xbox right now.
Mm-hmm.
What does that tell you? It tells me that they're ready to announce something for Xbox, but not at this moment. That's what it sounds to me.
Yeah,
right?
they were
'Cause
worried about pushing the hardware forward, but then they were like, "But we're going to be on Switch." It was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, and you're like, so excuse me, like, because the normal answer you get from PlayStation is we will not be putting anything on Xbox. That's the answer. That is not what we got. That is not what we got. And just to put into perspective, that's the game director of Horizon at Guerrilla, and Herman Hulse is from Guerrilla, who runs all of the PlayStation studios. So they're buddy. He definitely is talking to that guy all the time, and he's saying we have nothing to announce right now. Yikes. So the last shoe is about to fall on the PlayStation fans that your games are coming to other platforms, including Xbox. Yes. So you just have to read between the lines in that statement that, they're putting something on Xbox. Okay. So I wouldn't be surprised if Lego Horizon makes it over at some point, whether it may not be a launch, but it's probably coming. It's probably coming to Xbox, right? And it probably isn't the only game. So you could just take that for what it is, right? I mean, Concord, if it fails miserably, might be well suited to go into a Game Pass and a PlayStation Plus, because it might be the only way to save it, right? But look, it just expect that there's going to be more changes like that, right? So what's going to be the narrative after that, right? Your last narrative is, oh, you don't get PlayStation games on Xbox. Well, that's apparently, according to that statement, it sounds like that's about to change. So what's your last narrative? Like, what are you going to, so you're going to have to deal with that stages of grief. It's done, right? The whole thing of exclusivity of platforms, it's almost irrelevant at this point. Enjoy the platforms, play the games, right? That's really where it goes, right? Like you're saying, Luke, just enjoy, have fun, play games. Does it really have to be so console worry? That's kind of where we're ending here. It really is just that. So the PlayStation toxicity of that, hey, there's Xbox toxicity as well. I won't deny that exists.
Right.
but if you look at the PlayStation toxicity stuff, that's gonna have to just kind of like just fall off, because there's no reality to how that would continue, right? They're looking at their numbers and saying, I need to make money. I don't care that you have fan bases that want this here and there. After a year, 2 years, if I can put my game over there and it works and gives me more money, I'm doing it. So they did it with Switch for one of the day and date, by the way, which is crazy. But if they start bringing more games to Switch, would that surprise me? No. If they start bringing games to Xbox, would that surprise me? No. Right? I think this is going to happen. They're going to do the same things that Phil is doing to try to sustain their business. I think that's where we are. And I think what Colin is saying is, I don't want the crybaby stuff about games coming out that aren't first party. You had all these exclusives, granted there are other third-party games that might be timed or whatever, right? So you should just be happy with those games. When like 2 years ago he's telling me, well, why doesn't Xbox have any games? And then what? So I don't like to go after people, but look, Colin, you said this stuff, right? You said this about one platform. It applies, unfortunately, it applies to all platforms. If they have no games, they have no games. And that's kind of where it is. So PlayStation has given you, Helldivers 2, which is kind of a second party deal. And then they've given you a whole bunch of third party signed, whatever. I don't know how many of those are now Xbox properties. PlayStation properties. I don't know what happens there. But I'm assuming a lot of those games like Final Fantasy 7, I assume is still owned by Square. And that will eventually come over to Xbox, right? Yeah. Or any other platform. Switch 2 might be able to play it, right? Whatever the new Switch is. So I don't know how many of these stay, but at some point you have to recognize you called out Microsoft for not having games, even though they were putting out games because they bought studios that happen to have those games. Well, I guess with that logic, fair games doesn't count. Nothing Bungie does will ever count. And then a Firewalk doesn't count, so Concord doesn't count. I could keep going because you basically are in the same boat then, right? I can't say that whatever Housemarque's working on necessarily counts because, well, why should it? I could keep going down that path. I don't think it matters. I think if you publish a game, it's fine, right? The first party owns it. They do what they need to do with it. Even the not so well received Modern Warfare 3 was published by Microsoft. So it counts, good or bad, whatever, it counts, right? So, but you have to take it with that level, right? So you're saying that the Deathloop doesn't count, even though Microsoft published it, and like Ghostwire doesn't, like, all these little stupid things to try to cope with this. Sorry, ultimately it just comes down to Microsoft is not putting out a lot of games, and PlayStation is not.
Exactly.
Kind of where you are, and you need to just own that and kind of deal with the reality that things are shifting, and the market leader is not going to be PlayStation anymore. It just is what it is. Move on.
There you go.
Right,
and
play your games.
One thing I do want to now we've let him go on pretty good little rant here in the chat. Mass produce says COD needs PlayStation. PlayStation does not need Xbox. That's nuts. Well, if it wasn't for Xbox, you wouldn't have COD. Remember that.
Exactly.
It's now owned by Microsoft. Sorry.
Well, and
just to be clear, dude. Wake
COD has its ascent because of the 360.
Exactly.
The Xbox 360 created the COD ascent.
Exactly.
Right?
So I appreciate you being here in the chat. And I know you got a free membership, so that's cool. But dude, sorry if you're delusional that but PlayStation is in trouble. And this is what we're going to play, just a little clip of this, and then we're going to go to Luke. But just a little bit of what Colin was stressing to his own little fan base.
Colin, let's start with you. Who needs sorting out this week from you?
PlayStation,
I know there's a long
PlayStation
list,
fans
probably.
need sorting out this week.
Oh, shit. Let's hear it.
Hey, babies. I want you to listen carefully, okay?
Yes.
Because I can't take it anymore. Where are the games?
Dude.
Where are the games? Oh.
I'm drowning in games, guys.
Do you like video games? Have you paid any attention to the games that have come to PlayStation 5 this year? Listen, I don't want to be disingenuous. I understand what a lot of people are saying when they say we want more first-party games. We all would like more first-party games. I want them to be of a high quality. I'd rather have fewer of them and much more high quality consistently, which I think Sony has achieved since maybe the middle of the PS4 era.
Yeah, whatever.
But a mono focus on first-party content is really ignoring the forest for the trees. If you are involved with any non-Nintendo hardware for exclusives only, then you are in the wrong place. You should go buy a Switch and immerse yourself in the first-party content there that the hardware will live and die by. But the absolute reality of PlayStation and Xbox and PC is that the exclusives are nice, but they don't ultimately really matter if you like a wide breadth of games. And while we would like those exclusives to come at a greater cadence, even if the exclusives are what's important to you, why does it matter where the game comes from if it's good? Why does it matter if it's locked to a console if it's good or fun? Here are the games I've played this year on PlayStation 5. Prince of Persia: The Lost that have come out this year. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which I beat and platinumed. Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, which I beat. Lords of Exile, which I haven't beat, but that's not really a relevant game. Banisher's Ghost of New Eden, that came out this year, and I didn't beat it, but it was really good. I liked it. Just was getting a little long in the tooth. Helldivers 2 came to PS5 and PC. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, beat that. Stellar Blade, beat that. Animal Well, platinumed and beat that. And then all the way up to Crow Country, which I just platinumed, and we'll get to that later.
Mm-hmm.
I play games as a course of my life because it's what I do for a living. And I play way more than most people, including most people listening to this. It's not an insult. It's a reflection of the reality of our situations. I am truly tired of hearing about how there's nothing to play and there are no games on PlayStation. You must not like video games.
Mm-hmm.
You must not understand the idea that you can actually buy older things that you may have missed. You haven't played everything. No doubt about it. The more time goes on, every day that goes on, that becomes magnified. And by the time we get 50 years into the future, there's going to be so much shit that you have never played. I'm not saying we're there now, but so interesting to think that we're piling and piling and piling these things up. Imagine where we are now in the timeline.
So that's enough of that. So, yeah, I know. It's like,
Um,
you could actually be saying, you substitute the word Xbox for PlayStation for a few years ago, as far as the issues that Microsoft was having. That are, guess what, folks? We're not having those issues anymore because they're one of the largest publishers in the gaming market. Period.
Can I?
So yeah,
Can I
yes,
address
of course,
something?
yes. Go right ahead.
I think Colin is making a really strong point, but I think he's ignoring the actual question. I think he's addressing the what people are saying, but he's giving an answer to a question that they don't want the answer to. If I'm looking at the PlayStation and the ponies and they're saying, where are the games? Where are the games? I want to have games. There's no games to play right now. I don't think they're actually asking for what game should I be playing right now. I think they're asking, where's the justification for why I spent $500 on this console? That I think is
correct.
The actual question that he should be addressing. Not go back to the past and find those games that you didn't play. Or I'm playing tons of second and third party games right now. It's like, that's fucking stupid. I'm sorry. No shit. Everyone has a backlog. They want to feel justified in why they're in this ecosystem. And if they can't do that with the first party titles that they've expected based on the cadence of games that came out for the PS4, they're going to question why that's not the case this time. And honestly, one of the questions that I had as we were kind of getting into this was, do you guys feel like the Activision Blizzard King purchase has significantly impacted the way that the Sony strategy was going, and is that to too much of a detriment to the Sony first party or to the Sony ecosystem? Like, has it done so much damage in your mind to the Sony ecosystem that now we are starting to question, like, okay, did we just take the first party or the top dog in the industry and knock them down into third place with this? Because that's kind of what I'm feeling.
So look, I think the first thing was Bethesda. I think that startled Jim Ryan. He's like, wait, they're going to compete? I didn't expect that. I thought I was going to finish them off. Right? I think that startled them. I don't think they expected that. It certainly finished off Stadia. Stadia said, what, you're going to spend that much money? Oh, okay. And that was just $7.5 billion. I think ABK just told them, we're not kidding around. We're not going to just fall over. The idea that we're going away, yeah, you have another thing coming. And that just means that you have to now compete in reality. And I don't think that's going to easily happen. Right. So it's cool that, they make all these deals in the world, but that's drying up. A lot of those companies are finding it's not in their benefit to do that. Right. So I think, like, ultimately long term, this is going to start to shift. They're going to have to compete better. But yeah, I do think ABK kind of really hit them. There's a reality to them. Was it Luke was saying that Call of Duty was like their exclusive? Basically, it wasn't their exclusive, but it didn't matter. They marketed the hell out of it, and they had exclusive content, which basically made it their exclusive, right? It made it their console is the one you have to be on to play the full Call of Duty experience, and that's now gone, right? That is a big deal, and that's now gone. Now the Xbox, at least under Phil, their philosophy is, we're going to give you Call of Duty, the full thing, everywhere. We're not going to limit anybody from having any content. You're all going to get everything, right? That's cool. Didn't have to be that way, by the way. Even the regulators recognize that partial foreclosure is okay because, well, you're paying $70 billion to have this. So it would have been okay to say this part of the content is locked to you. Fair enough. But Phil's philosophy is, nope, we're giving everybody everything. I don't want to even hear any scent of we decided to do like something that was nefarious. No. Everybody gets the same, COD everywhere, right? Cool. But it takes away the incentive that PlayStation had, right? Which is we get stuff before everybody else. So don't play it on PC. Don't play it on Xbox. And if Switch 2 is able to do it, don't play it on Switch 2, right? Because we're going to have the content. That's gone. I think it did hit them pretty big. right? If you see some of the leaked stuff that came out of Insomniac, they were looking at billions in loss, right? That was what they were saying, billions in loss, right? So it's a big deal for them. And yes, I think that them having to kind of change market. Look, Nintendo is gonna Nintendo. They're just fine. They're as they are. They're gonna Nintendo. At some point, maybe their IP fizzles. That isn't today, right? They just released another round of Mario and Zelda, and both games, Mario Wonder and Tears of the Kingdom, did phenomenally well, right? They both critically and fiscally did phenomenally well. So they're gonna keep Nintendoing, because if the market keeps taking it and says, we'll keep buying your Switch again and again and again, 140 something plus million of them, and we'll keep buying your games at a clip of 15, 20 million each. Okay. What do they have to lose? They just keep going with what they've got. It works. So why not? Right. So they're kind of good. And if you saw from the FTC leaks what the profit margin is, profits for Nintendo outdo both of their rivals combined. Right. And that's just craziness. Profit, not revenue, profit, right? The revenue is certainly lower, but it doesn't matter. It's pure profit. It's just a whole profit thing for them. They're doing very well. They have cash in bank. They're great. Right. So you come to PlayStation, their profits were dwindling. And how do we know that? Well, Hiroki Totoki came and told us it's not meeting our requirements. We want to have more profits. Well, okay. Right. And if you look at the quarterly reports, you look at the annual reports, you can see that it is coming down. Right. And that is something they're trying to resolve. Xbox's profits were higher than PlayStation's, just as an FYI. That was from the FTC leaks. Xbox was making more profits. This is before ABK was acquired. Now they have ABK, which makes billions in profit every year off of King, off of Call of Duty, off of World of Warcraft. It's a different world, and I think this is going to make it very interesting for PlayStation to keep doing these deals where they keep piling their profits into taking games away from their competitors. That's going to be harder and harder to do. Like, Microsoft could do that. They're in a very good position that Phil does not like it. He hates doing the go and get this game and make it exclusive to Xbox thing, right? There's nothing stopping them from doing it. And they really could, because they do have bank. They have big amounts of money, right? Just forget about the profits of Xbox. They have the profits of Microsoft. And if they wanted to say, yeah, Zelnick, I think I want to have a GTA 6, a 6-month exclusive to Xbox. And Zelnick says, well, that'll cost you $7 billion. Like, okay, here's a check. Because they have that kind of money, right? What's Sony going to do? Cry, because they can't do that. They just can't, right? And that's the world they're in. Now, thank God they won't do that, because the FTC regulator, all the other regulators in the world, are like, hold on, right? But fiscally, they could do it. They easily could, right? And that's kind of the world they're in. So if they don't want that to happen, if they don't want to have all these big games start suddenly, like Assassin's Creed no longer coming to PlayStation, if you don't want that to happen, you kind of have to be a little bit better, right? And that's kind of where things are going now. So I think their exclusives things that they were doing before, where they were saying, hey, we're going to take this game away from you and that game away from you, is going to kind of dry up. And like, those companies want to make money, and this is just not working. And so the world has changed. The amount of cost there is in bigger games is just too much. So yes, I think ABK really did become a big deal for them. And I think Jim is gone because ABK went through. And, the company realized, hey, what is our financial outlook? If Jim was sending those memos out to his, senior, studio execs, he was obviously sending it upwards too, right? He had to tell Hiroki, his boss, hey, this is what's going on, right? And if this happens, this is what it means to us. Shortly after that deal went through, he was nice. He's gone. I'm just saying, like, you have to look at those things. He retired, right? I do think ABK was a big change, right? Because now they have to come up with a different plan, and saying, like, having statements like, we have nothing to announce yet about Xbox tells me that there are big changes coming, right? So I think you should see some games coming from that side over here to make money. Right? They're just going to put things on Switch. They're going to put things on Xbox because they want to make money. It doesn't mean day and date. It may not mean day and date. In the case of Lego, it is. But it may mean that other games that are viable on Switch, you know, Sackboy or something like that, the old Ratchet and Clanks, if they work, get them over there, get some sales. Why not? Right? Take some of the old games. They have like the Sly Cooper and like games like that. They could fit perfectly fine on the audience of a Switch, right? Why not? Right? It's just sitting there doing nothing, right? If you put a Sly Cooper collection together and throw it on Switch, sell 2 million copies, that's just pure profit. For doing what? You spend $1 million porting it, you're gonna make like 50. Why not?
Put it
Right?
on Steam.
You got to think about those
Yeah.
kind of things. If you're Hiroki sitting there going, my IP, because if you watch that vision statement, right? They did this whole vision thing, condo, whatever. The vision thing was all about IP. It had no mention of consoles, no mention of TVs, no mention of anything else. It had cameras and then all their IPs. That's all they talked about. So if you're going to take advantage of your IP, to me, that means that, hey, I've got this thing sitting here. I can make it into a TV show. I can make it into a movie, or I can put it on another platform and make money. Why wouldn't you do it? So I think that's where they are. And I think the PlayStation mindset needs to change that's where they are. Your stuff's going everywhere. You're just going to have to accept that. So sorry, I keep ranting.
No. But you're right. You know, the thing that they were like, you know, Xbox is third party. Xbox is dead. Wrong. Xbox is not dead. Third party. They've been kind of third party for a while, and you know, because they own, you know, Minecraft and all that kind of stuff, which is everywhere, by the way. So yeah, so just, you know, it's I don't know. It's we have games. I like the ecosystem for Xbox better. That's my bottom line. Oops. All right. Sorry, alarm went off. Hey, Dave, you need to get ready for work. Okay. So, but yeah, as we start to wrap things up, Luke, did you have anything you wanted to throw in there at the end? You seem like you had something on your mind.
Well, I was just thinking back to Colin's thoughts. Like, I do agree that what he said made sense to me. I did understand what he was saying. Yes, when you buy but I think it goes more to what Logan was saying. Like, when you buy the box, you want to know, why do I have this box? So when they say we have no games, where are the games? There's no games. They're talking about first party.
Yep.
And so
all about first party.
He's tactfully taking what they are asking.
Misdirection.
And and misdirecting, because I have had an Xbox. I've been an Xbox gamer for a decade plus. So I was 360, then I was PS4, and then I was Xbox One, and through currently.
Fake fan.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. But I've never once felt like I had nothing to play ever. And so the question is, where's the first party? And that's a different conversation. For sure. And you guys have eloquently and correctly stated, like, Shaun Layden's PlayStation is what got them through this generation. And I think had COVID not stutter stepped the generation, we might have seen a different outcome, or we might be in different standing, because I think you would have seen PlayStation's vision falter a touch sooner and Xbox's vision execute a bit sooner. And you know, we'll never know that, but it's really very much obvious to me that PlayStation's current, or maybe it's already shifted and we don't see the results yet, but like their previous strategy is not a long-term success. It's just not going to be, but it gave some great games. The problem is sequelitis and nothing new, and it's taking too long, and return on investment, and the business is struggling, whereas Xbox is making money. And I'm actually in the camp that I want more games faster, and I'm cool with some 8s. I'm okay with 8s instead of 9.5s. To me, Hellblade was a 9.5, but like, my point is, I don't need it to be a 9.5 on every scale if I'm playing more games at a better cadence and they're justifying my dollar. So when I see Avowed is not a 50-hour experience, okay, cool, I'm down for a 10-hour experience. Maybe I replay it, you know, like, I'm down for that. I'm excited by that. So I think Xbox's execution and vision on the future is just more likely to be successful with the cadence that gamers and customers expect going forward. But I know what Colin was saying, but I think that the goalposts in the conversation perhaps moved, and it was just reallocating an argument to a different subsect of conversation is what was really happening. So,
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. As we wrap things up, I'm getting ready to. We'll go around the horn to everybody. But I do want. I just saw this online the other day, and to leave things on a more exciting note, fun note. So obviously, Crazy Taxi is being remade and coming back, but somebody actually, this is pretty creative. They have made a real Crazy Taxi, and this is not CGI. This is actually somebody's real car, and this is kind of cool.
Yo, that's the sickest shit ever. Why you gotta ruin my life, bro? I didn't even know it was possible.
I love it. I want that car. I would go for a ride in that damn thing.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Why you gotta ruin my
looks
life,
awesome.
bro? I didn't even know it was possible.
That looks awesome. Looks like a lot of fun. I don't know. It's my show. I can throw whatever I want up here. Well, there you go. There you go. Guys, what a great show, man. And just to let everybody know, we are going to send everybody over. If you stick around to stay, hang on in the chat, and we are going to send you over. If you're listening on YouTube, automatically we'll shift on over to Pixelated Echoes. And if you are there, you can definitely let them know that they've been rated by the Gamers Council if you would like. So anyway, guys, what a great show tonight. Just in case anybody that missed it toward the beginning, we have over 400 people here watching on X and on YouTube Live. Thank you so much. And the people I know will be watching later on the replay. And also, we also have the audio version that goes up everywhere. So we appreciate that as well. Also, the links are in the bottom of descriptions. Description has the link to everybody's X / Twitter, and except for Hargeet's, which is Discord. If you want to reach out to Hargeet, you can reach him on Discord. That's also included in there as well, so you can find it. Also, the link to Hargeet's book is there as well, and the links to Logan and to Luke's podcast is there as well. So please click on that. Please like and subscribe. These guys. Not like past tense. They're right here. They are absolutely fantastic, great topics, and they have a good solid discussion, and they get some really big guests on there too. Not including me, but I'm just saying that they have a really big guest on there as well. So you want to check them out. So please not only subscribe to these channels, and Hargeet has a YouTube channel. Subscribe to these channels and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of their great content, because that's important. Whether you watch it live or you watch it in a replay, it's important to help out the community, and every little bit does. So please, on that note, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. We appreciate it. We're on our way to 3K, and we'll start up in the corner with Captain Logan. Buddy, tell everybody where they can reach out to you, sir. And thank you so much for being here.
Xbox Expansion Pass. Head over to YouTube, search for that. I am on the show with Luke as often as I can be, and I'm getting back into the cadence of things. I think Luke is off. You're off next weekend?
I'm off next week. Yep.
So I've got hosting duties, and then I'm off the next weekend after that. So he'll be having hosting duties. So, but we're looking forward to just seeing anyone that comes by. Hope you all join us next time we jump on the show. I think Luke did a great job yesterday when I was out and about. So it was really nice to have that day off. I sprung it on him. Short notice, and for some reason my brain, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be gone Saturday, it'll be okay, it won't be a problem. And then I was just like, oh, I didn't actually mention that to my buddy. So but yeah, definitely come check us out Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern time.
12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific.
Yes.
5 GMT, I think. I don't
Yeah,
know. We
5
people were
GMT.
like, please include GMT. We're like, really? All right.
There you go.
I think British summertime is the same as GMT right now, but I can't remember because I usually go off of British summertime.
There you go.
That's
There
weird.
you go. Well, dude, thanks again for being here. We greatly appreciate you. Hopefully, you will come back. We'd love to have you back again in the future. So anyway, so just like I said, thank you so much for your time tonight. We appreciate it. Great job, as always. Like I said, you guys put out some great content, and it's pretty awesome. I do want to quickly mention a new member, Thatch. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Like I said, membership, I hit the wrong button, is only got muted, is literally just it's like $1 if you want to become a member to get access to all the emojis. But you don't have to. If you just like I said, we try and get everybody up their comments on the screen as much as we can. So I also want to go now to sir. Thank you so much for being here, Luke, Lohr. Dude, thank you so much. We enjoyed having you here, enjoying hearing about your escapades and all the videos and stuff that you put up, and the pictures you put up from the showcase where you got to actually hang out with Hargeet. Jealous. I need to do that someday soon. So, but tell everybody where they can reach out to you, where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, I'll ask anybody that's here to just check out the Xbox Expansion Pass, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, wherever it is. It means a lot. We're a smaller Xbox show. I think, Logan, that's fair to say compared to a lot of these content creators out here.
So
but
big.
when people
Huge.
hit the like button, when they share, when they
makes a difference.
When they let people know, it makes a huge difference. And I know that it's a goal to get you guys to 200 likes. Like we look for 25 every show, and it means the world when people take the time to do it. So please please, wherever you enjoy a content creator, be it this show, whether it's XEP, SEK Asante in the chat. I know you're headed to a podcast after this. Support those creators because it really does make a huge difference, and support however you're able. Right. And Dave, thank you for having us. Hargeet, it was always good to see you. Logan, somehow we connected on a different show that wasn't ours, but so it goes, right? So it goes. We're trying to enjoy our summer. We're making sure we don't burn out. So that is a serious thing that Logan and I take to heart, is that we want to have that balance. So like, yeah, I'm off this coming week, and then he's off the weekend after it. And like, there's no harm, no foul in that. We enjoy gaming and with our community, and we'll link back up. Like, that's just important for us.
Yeah, it is important, and Alex, I appreciate you guys coming on tonight. We do definitely appreciate that. And before we go to Hargeet, just what some people are just joining us, and you watch the replay. It's here. We are going to take the show or send the show over to Pixelated Echoes. Oh, man, I can't even talk tonight. But I also want to want to let people know. Some people may not have heard this if they're just joining us. Retri is stepped away from Gamers Council. He's no longer my co-host. We wish him much luck in the things going with his own channel. Is doing fantastic. It's a family thing. He needed to spend some more time, with his wife and family, and we absolutely 1000% respect that and wish him all the best of the luck. And hopefully in the future he will come back on and visit with us occasionally. So some things will be changing in here. Some other things. Hargeet is nice enough to join us a little more often now, and because he actually has his Sundays have freed up a little bit. So not to take him too far away from gaming, but I'll let him fill in more about where he's going to be and where you can reach out to him. Hargeet, Chani, thank you so much for being here, sir.
Yeah, so first, I guess you can check out my book, Emergence, if you want to. It's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Lulu. But if you want, it's easier. Just go to shop.chani.us, and it has the links directly to those pages, so you don't have to find it, right? So check that out if you like. And then you can subscribe to my channel. It's Hargeet Chani 1 on YouTube, so go subscribe. The E-Day video is up to 68,000 views. So I recorded, Luke, while we were out there, I recorded all the reactions of the crowd at FanFest, and I put those up on my channel. And the E-Day one is the one that just took off. It took off. People really
excited
resonated
about
with
Gears.
Right? Yeah, it was so crazy, and that trailer is so good. It was really well done too, right? So so that video is taken off. Anyways, check that out. All the reactions are up there if you want to take a look. And I drop videos every now and then. I leave to record a video in the chat. Okay.
Thanks, Paris. Welcome back, Paris.
All right. All right. Anyway, and then I will be on Boom's show on Wednesday, 7 p.m. US Eastern. Primetime Gaming, and it's Double Barrel Gaming is a channel. And then it's a double header. I'll be doing my normal Game Talk Live co-hosting with Fonz on Fonz Gaming's channel at 10 p.m. US Eastern Time, right after Boom's show. So check that out on Wednesday. So double header on Wednesday. And I always do the night shift on C Money and Doodle's channel. That's on Point for Gamers. And that's 7 p.m. US Eastern on Friday.
Yeah.
So check that out.
All I can say is I can never get enough Hargeet. So, and I mean that because, like I said, you have a really good insight, a really good perspective on things in gaming and so on and so forth. And so yeah, so it's much appreciated. Thank you so much for joining us here, guys. Great show. Oh yeah, let's see here. We'll put this up for Paris. See, check
There you
out.
go. I was baiting him so he could plug his channel.
There you go. There you go. And definitely, yeah. Paris is in the chat. Paris, you have admin membership, so you can definitely drop your YouTube channel in the link in the chat there, and people can actually click on that if they haven't already subscribed to your YouTube channel. So put that there. Let people do that so they can subscribe to your channel and they won't miss out on your amazing content that you're now doing on your own. I think it's fantastic and great. I enjoy watching those as well. Like I said, so many amazing members of the community, like Keasante, and all the work that he does is absolutely awesome. I absolutely love Keasante, one of my favorites, and of course Dark Griggity and Shaun, absolutely amazing. They're funny. They're funny guys. So yeah, appreciate them too. And also, last thing I'll say is a big shout out to Sith Lord. And he's been going through some tough stuff in his life in the last year or so, and we appreciate. We appreciate him being here and hanging out with us, Paris. It's not me being lazy. It's just the way it is. There you go. Too funny. All right, guys. Thanks again for everybody for joining us here on the Gamers Council. We appreciate it. Please hit the like button, subscribe button, and join us next week. And God knows what's going to happen, but I guarantee you, it's going to be fun.
Game over.